we're leaving for the airport at 5 a.m. and we're still gonna edit this bad cat. But he offered to help. You know, and it made me feel good, man, because that's, you know, it's just that time of year, and I want to do that. And I want to. That's what I want to do. I want to just, you know, I want to keep my eyes open and try and be part of some solutions and just see what I could do. But happy holidays to you, whatever holiday you celebrate. You know, I love Christmas. You know, they got a little baby in the desert. You got to think about that, man. I mean, you got to think how much love was in the air if 3 old men went to visit a baby in the desert and Chris Hansen wasn't there.
What's up, team?
I mean, that, you know, there was a different type of love in the air at that time.
You betcha, buddy.
Positivity.
These days, you know, one old dude shows up to a trap house in Florida or something, and next thing you know, you got federal agents and everybody. So it was just a different time. There was a lot of love in the air, and I think people loved more without, you know, without any of the dark arts kind of seeping in. I think most of the love that was in people at those times was above the waist, and now some of our love, it's like an hourglass, and it's kind of, you know, the sand is starting to, you know, kind of
they're trying to teleport.
It's the sand is starting to float down towards our crotch, you know it, so I don't want to say it too loud because it's holidays, but crotch.
Hanzo's on statue.
But yeah, man, we were in DC. What did I do? I want to thank everybody that came out. You know how I do it. It was nice, man. We flew out, and dude, we got first class on the airplane. And first class, man, look, I don't get it all the time. You know, I've started to get it more often, and it's new to me.
Good job.
You know, some people probably always get first class. You know, Ariana Grande, Chris D'Elia. You know, he got first class. He rich.
Low back there.
I don't know if you know Chris D'Elia or not, or Delia.
Behind you.
But
no, I know.
I heard a rumor that he was at a coffee shop and the table was uneven that he was sitting at, and he took $600 and put it under the little edge of the, you know, the bottom corner of the table to fix it, and left it there when he left. So that's wild. And he has all kind of bathtubs in his house, and you know, somebody said he has a bathtub that has like a little, you know, like a little you know, like a all different type of soaps, like a little soap buffet on the edge of it. And that's different, man. I'm used to, you know, you get one kind of soap, you go in there, and it's like, oh, what kind of soap do we have? We got fucking soap. That's it. The only kind they ever had was just soap. And Chris D'Elia, dog, probably has blueberry soap. You know, crystal, you know, soap that looks like soap, but it's just crystal, and it's not even really soap, it's actual crystal. And, you know, coconut soap, or, you know, different type of stuff, menthol, different type of varieties, because he's like that. But that's what I felt like when I got in first class, man. We got up there, and Ari Manis, he got bumped up with me. That lucky little fucktron, he got bumped up. So we're in, and man, they had lay down bed. Dude, first of all, if I'm laying down, you know what I'm saying, I'm putting one of my hands in my pants most of the time. And that, and that's not a pervert thing, that's just, you know, when I lay down, I like to, one of my hands automatically kind of goes into my pants. I don't know what that is. It must be for safety or something. Because a long time ago, I don't know if you guys have ever read like a lot of history books or the Bible, or, you know, different type of Muslim literature, or slim literature, some people say. Instead of Muslim, a lot of people say slim. If you've ever read a lot of slim literature, or nature books, or even just seen, you know, a lot of dioramas and stuff from when we were children.
Someone get this Roadhog off me, man.
You know that people were naked a long time ago. Clothes have only been around for probably 240 years. So after that, before that, man, it was straight up, you know, it was Dick City. You know, no offense, or, you know, it was also, you know, Vaginistan, but it was also Dick City. It was both. And
come on, guys.
So
fuck, man.
People were a lot more natural then, but it was also very dangerous because you had to keep your crotch clean because an animal could smell your body. You know, one of the top 4 places your body has a scent is your crotch.
Dude,
and so
I know you can kill a roadhog.
You know, an animal would notice that, and so you'd have to really cover your junk, you know, to really, because you don't want an anteater coming at night, you know, and siphoning your crotch right off your body. I mean, it's not something that people want. So you have to take care of yourself, and usually that's why I think, you know, there's something innate in us. There's something medieval and limbic in our brains. When we say go to bed at night, you cover your crotch with your hand. Because look, this is my livelihood. This is where I'm carrying the future of my lineage. I'm not out here trying to fucking, you know, feed a hyena in the middle of the night who's got a strong nose on him, and next thing you know, he's noshing on my sriracha. He's just trying to have a snack while I'm trying to rest. Come on. So that's nature, some of that to cover your body while you sleep. But it was nice, the first class, man. It was really, really, really nice. And yeah, and you can lay down. And at one point they brought a warm cookie.
Every child deserves a family.
Oh my God.
If you're thinking about growing yours, find out more about adopting a waiting child. Call 1-877-236-7807 or visit adoptnow.ca.
They had a lady, her name I couldn't even pronounce it. She was like every ethnicity, Sherbaka or something, you know, Thumbelina, I don't know what her name was. Pretty beautiful, I think, I don't know. It's dark up there in first class.
Why is she not dead yet?
You get in a coach and they flow the floodlights on you. They interrogate you. Back there, that's just witness protection up there. In the front, it's witness protection. But it was nice, man. So that was, you know, look, I felt lucky that I got bumped up. I didn't pay for that. I got bumped into that. But people came out to the shows in D.C. We flew in on Friday and went straight to the shows pretty much. And I don't know if you guys came out to the comedy club, but I thought it was, you know, it looked like about the last stop on the Underground Railroad. They had, you know, I thought at first, I'm like, damn, this is a damn trap house. You know, any minute the Fed's gonna bust through the windows.
Help me.
And they're gonna be searching, you know, a couple people's orifices for, you know, for cocaine and stuff like that. Dilaudid, all of that, pills. Not weed. Dude, remember they had that one kid who used to hide weed in his sphincter? What an idiot. I'd rather have gone to jail for weed than have to pull a couple joints out of my bottom. Come on, man. You better get with the Lord, bro.
Someone's behind.
Man, like I know, look, if you got, you know, 6 or 7 kilos or some grams, or, you know, some, you know, rare doubloons or, you know, gold bullion, yeah, hide it in your fucking little, you know, in that warm little locker, in that little hurt locker. But you got, you know, you running around with, you know, 6 buds of that purple rain or whatever it's called, you know, emphysema black or whatever this, you know, these different strands are called. They always had that one dude, the cops showed up and you guys, you have anything on you? Everybody's like, no, I don't have nothing. And then one of your boys in the back seat talked to another boy who's kind of been maybe questioning his sexuality and
they pushed that way too far, guys.
You know, uploading a couple of nugs into his bottom. Different times, man.
That's why.
But yeah, the show, you know, and at first I was like, this place is wild. It seemed like a fire hazard. It seemed
And he's also
Yeah, I was like, this thing like a trap house. You know, this seemed like it's on the Underground Railroad and nobody would even get off. You know, even runaway servants and stuff would be like, we'll go back, you know? But it grew on me over time, and you know what?
He's talking.
You know why? Was because you guys came out.
He has open mic on.
And there was just a lot of joy.
Just
a lot of joy, man.
Yep.
Some big hugs. There's always some dude comes out, talks about, you know, sobriety. He's all coked out of his mind. He's like, you helped me.
Yeah, he did.
And then there's like other people who come out and, you know, you just really feel that they, you know, just have a lot of joy in their lives. And they're trying to make more joy, and that inspires me.
Like right now I have 60%.
And
well, I'll just melt.
Yeah, by the beginning, it's funny because whenever I relate with other people,
that's fine.
You know, I get less judgmental. Because the first day I'm at the club and I'm thinking, man, they had all kind of siding falling out, insulation. Right. One dude, you know, put a little bit of insulation in his book bag and fucking quit work. Damn. They doing whatever. They had a security guard. He was sitting down most of the time. And he kept asking me if his shirt fit okay.
Yep.
I said, dude, you're an insecurity guard.
I'm gonna see if I can
He asked me if he felt like his ears were a decent size for his body. Motherfucker, let's just chill, Papa.
Ooh, that Anna's low.
And at first I'm there and I'm judgmental. You know, when they had, you know, they just had it was an eclectic group. But we had, you know, we made the most of it, and by the end of the weekend I was having fun. And it's, you know, I find whenever I just relate to others and don't think about other, you know, whenever I just communicate with people, a lot of my judgment goes away. And I was finding some joy. But so they had some wildcats that came out in D.C. This crazy Mexican chick named Bobo. What? Bobo? Dude, how are you going to be named after a children's injury? Who named you that? Owie? Who's Owie? You got a cousin named Owie? Oh, this is Bobo and Owie.
Yeah, they're breaking our shields faster because they have a jump.
So that was unique.
And a Bastion.
Who else came out? We had a gentleman, it was his birthday. Somebody made me a Rat King belt. It was pretty cool. Your boy Copernicus. Somebody gave me a nice gift. I haven't opened it up yet.
I'll take it out. Oh shit.
Today's podcast is brought to you by MNML Case. Minimal Case. It's the world's thinnest phone case. That's right. It's just 0.01 inches thick. Man, that is so thin, someone said. New iPhone X's, XR are in stock, and new Pixel 3s are in stock as well. You can get cases for those phones. Showcase the beauty of your phone. Imagine your phone wants to go out to a nice dinner, you know, at Ruth's Chris or, you know, Shanghai Diamond or something fancy Chinese place. Wouldn't you want it to be in a sexy dress? Well, this is just that. The MNML Case, minimal case.
Fashion's on it. Yeah,
I mean, it's super thin. You're going to be shocked how thin it is, okay? It is so thin. Now, this isn't something, if you're going to take your phone off-road and you're going to throw your phone at your cousin, you know, because he's been drinking and he stole something, then that's between y'all. Don't do that in this case. But you have a 100% money-back guarantee. If you are unhappy for whatever reason, they'll refund the purchase of the case. No need to even send the case back. So you can, our TPW listeners, get 20% off by visiting mnmlcase.com. That's mnmlcase.com and use promo code Theo. That's promo code Theo for 20% off at mnmlcase.com. It is thin, man. I mean, you're gonna be shocked. You know what was crazy this week in Washington D.C.? People came out and they had that Ridge, that front pocket carry. And we live in a dangerous time sometimes these days. Actually, I think we always have. Actually, I think it was way more dangerous maybe 100 years ago when people were, you know, fighting the plague and shooting each other. And stealing each other's gold. But also, right now,
there we go.
You may need protection. Well, protect yourself, protect your money with the Ridge wallet. This thing can stop a bullet, dude. What kind of bullet? I wouldn't try and find out. But the Ridge wallet is that front pocket carry. A lot of people are still carrying stuff on their back and their butt. You know? What are you, a drug mule? No. Take care of yourself. Get that Ridge wallet, that front pocket carry. Carries your credit cards, carries your ID, small, concise, put it up front, bang, bang. Bang, bang. Get that hitter. You can go to ridgewallet.com/Theo and use promo code THEO at checkout for 10% off. That's code THEO for 10% off at ridgewallet.com/Theo. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And now back to the episode. And some people came out and just talked about sobriety and stuff like that, or people, just all types. A lot of loving people. One guy came out and just really wanted to express to me that he was grateful for the podcast being a place to hang out. Man, that made me feel good. It made me feel good.
Right? But it's cool.
I'll tell you this, man. The holidays are here.
Actually, left side.
It's gonna come quick, so you have to plan ahead right now to get some gifts for people. And sometimes, man, a nice gift for somebody these days especially can even be just a nice video that maybe you have a friend edit.
Bastion's behind us now. Junkyard is too.
Maybe your grandparents don't get to see their kids, the grandkids or something a lot. Maybe making them something special. That's a nice free gift you can make. Or something cute could be, what if you dressed your kids up like the grandparents? Give your kid a little cane or something, and maybe a couple, a little sack of prunes, and maybe a little, like a shirt, like a little butler outfit or something, and some spectacles, and then you send your kid out.
That was good.
That could be kind of neat. I don't know, but yeah, that could be a fun video you can make for senior citizens.
Game fucker.
Oh yeah.
What else is going on? Made it into DC. We made it through the Sunday night. It's Sunday night here. I'm still in Washington, DC. We went to the Portrait Museum. That was enjoyable. And they have all the portraits of all the presidents in there. I learned that they have Secret Service, like security for President Trump, but then he also has his own security. So there's like double security running around all the time, which I think is just kind of wild and crazy, and just maybe it's just exemplary of our times. That nobody feels like they can trust each other at these government levels. And I think some of that's good. I think a shake-up is good, man. Change is always kind of tricky, but it's really the thing that's, can kind of show us new opportunities. I believe that. What else, man? I'm just grateful to be in America. Man, really seeing, like, when you come here and you see all the people that are like tourists and just, and people just like crying at different monuments and expressing their, their gratitude, or sharing a story with their kids about something, a battle that their father was in, or it's beautiful, man. It makes you think about, how far this country has come and what it is. And it makes you think about kind of your place in it anyway. It was for me. It was making me think about, about being an American. And just grateful that I can, I got a holiday season coming up where I can, make a lot of joy. And that's good shit, bruh. Joy is probably one of the top 60 or 70 things. But yeah, a lot of good people came out. Thank you so much for coming out in DC. That shit, the club, I thought it was haunted. They had people in the bathroom saying Candyman 6 times and shit. People disappeared. Some guy said his wife left him. I mean, the place had a wild vibe to it. And they was people slanging tater tots and doing that. And stuffed little peppers that have been, infiltrated with cheese and shit. All type of stuff. you know, they had a tray of meats in the back, and it was something, man. It was something else, and a lot of good people came out. So thank you very much. What else do I want to tell you guys? Oh, I'll tell you guys this. We do have some new shows coming up that are on sale now, and the House of Blues show in New Orleans has sold out. That's what I heard, and that's the day after Christmas. So I'm excited about that. I was texting with Dustin Poirier from Louisiana, and there's a rumor that he's going to be fighting Irish guy. Alcohol, sells alcohol, still fights though. What's his name? Colin McGill. No. Conor McGregor. So they're going to fight. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to kind of keep my eyes open for the date on that and cheer on a little bit of Louisiana. Chris Hansen is on this week. Dude, he came in the studio. Chris Hansen. And when you get around him, he is Chris Hansen. You forget, like, fuck, I wonder what it's like to be Chris Hansen. And then you're around him and you're like, fuck. Man, it makes you feel good, you know, that you're on the up and up in some of those areas. It makes you feel good that you don't live in countries where, you know, children are meeting adults, you know, and stuff like that, and vice versa. And dude, it was an experience. You know, sometimes I like interviewing. I don't know if I know that much about it, about being an interviewer.
That's much better.
You know, I don't know if I know that much about it. But a lot going on this week, man. I wanted to talk about
get in there.
I wanted to talk about sobriety and stuff like that. But I just have a little bit of a headache, and I wanted to be able to drop more into it a little bit. And I still may. Let me see how I'm feeling in just a few minutes. And I want to tell you about these tour dates coming up. The House of Blues in New Orleans. Omaha Funny Bone, January 11th and 12th. Irvine Improv, January 18th through the 20th. I will be back at Addison Improv. I'll be there this Thursday, but then I'll also be there January 25th and 26th in Addison, Texas. Columbus Funny Bone, Columbus, Ohio, February 8th and 9th. And then the Houston Improv, February 22nd and 23rd. So those are shows that you can get on board. And I'm excited to be going to some new places. Oh, man. What a week. What else happened? Dude, this city is diverse. Wow. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. It's like damn like the library. You ever been to the library, dude? The library's fucking diverse as fuck. And yeah, it just feels, what does it feel like here? It feels like House of Cards, like you're walking around in House of Cards. Like people thinking they got secret information. You see like a dark car go by and you're like, who is that? You know, a diplomat, some shady fuck, who is it? You know, Martha's Vineyard, who is it? Martha Stewart, I mean. So pretty interesting, I guess. What else, man? I'll tell you this. I am... Here, I'll tell you how I got sober, man. We'll get into it. You know, I've been talking about it for a while. There's never really like a right time to talk about that sort of thing, but I do want to be able to share it with you guys. Because sometimes people ask about it and wonder what's up, and then, you know, I'll just tell you how I got into that. So, you know, I was born, my father was an old man. My dad was 70 years old when I was born, and my mother was 32. And they had 4 children. And, you know, when I was born, I think there was some shame or uncertainty by my parents. They had me call my dad by his first name instead of calling him Dad, because I guess maybe they'd gotten a lot of, you know, strange looks from people or judgment. And maybe they felt like that was a way that would make it easier on them and maybe on us too. But my father was very old when I was born, and as I started to get to know him, I was just kind of scared because, you know, he was a senior citizen, and he just kept getting older. Like, as I was getting older, he was getting older. And I remember, you know, when walking to church one time, and I had to like walk him, like make sure he was okay where he was stepping, and you know, just what the concrete was like, and so he didn't, you know, trip and that sort of thing. And so it just made me, I think, hyper aware. When I was really young, I was very aware. And my mother worked a lot, and she wasn't really connected to me. You know, she just worked a lot, and she had to work. You know, she had to have 4 children. And my parents got divorced, and we lived in we moved to like a poor area.
Okay, we'll format it.
And
A sniper.
And I guess I just started to feel like ashamed. You know, I felt ashamed of the fact that my family was poor. I felt ashamed that my dad was old and couldn't be like as much a part of my life in a lot of ways, because physically it was hampering to him, and then because my parents were separated and then he wasn't around. And you know, I started making up stories. I would tell people stories to make my life different than it was. You know, I would tell people, you know, I would take the school bus sometimes to a different neighborhood and get dropped off and then walk, because I didn't want people to see where I lived. And I started riding my bike to school. I'd ride my bike maybe 5 miles to school when I was in middle school. You know, and that's 5th grade, and maybe that's not wild, but at the time it didn't feel wild to me. You know, it felt like this is what I need to do to feel okay. So, you know, my peers won't judge me, and they may not even have been judging me. I just felt, I don't know, I guess I just felt judged. I felt less than. I felt, I don't know. Honestly, I didn't know. Sometimes I didn't really feel anything.
Damn good effort.
But I knew that if I showed up at school on the poor bus, then people knew I was poor. And I already felt bad enough because nobody was telling me in my world, like one of my parents, that I could feel okay about myself. You know, I didn't have there wasn't a father around. And this isn't a sob story I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to tell you how I ended up getting into Alcoholics Anonymous. For me, I'm not saying you need to do this. I don't know your life. I don't know your world. If you were doing an 8-ball right now and listening to this, bruh, and eating somebody's butt, you matter, whatever, do your thing. I'm not judging you at all, man. I wish I was right there with you. One day I may be back. But for now, this is where I am. So I just felt, less than. I felt I didn't know anything about myself, how to feel good about myself. So the only way I knew to feel good was if I could make you like me. I needed you. I only decided how I felt based on how you felt about me. And it went from moment to moment. And so I was a storyteller because I wanted my life to be different to other people. And so I told stories. And also I liked making people laugh, because I knew that if they were laughing, then they were okay with me. You know, they couldn't be hating me and laughing at the same time. My sister, I had a younger sister who was very ill. She was born with a rare liver disease, and she needed a liver transplant upon her birth. And so when my mother did have free time, a lot of time my sister got the affection because she was ill. And she got a lot more love and affection than my brothers and sister, my other brother and my other sister did, I felt like. Anyhow, I was, growing up, and one thing I really loved was summertime. I would go to YMCA summer camp. And at summer camp, things weren't as cliquey. everybody was on the same page. It was a group of kids in the summer that just wanted to have fun. We got to do fun stuff. We all, rode on a bus together from the camp to go to field trips, and I just loved that. And and people didn't. It just wasn't as judgmental. My mom would drop us off there, and we'd stay there and go to summer camp, and we weren't. It just felt like less judgment. And one day I was walking in my neighborhood, and one of the counselors from my summer camp drove down the street. He happened to be driving through my neighborhood, and he saw me in this neighborhood. And it was our neighborhood was poor, man. It was, I think it was the poorest white neighborhood that was around us, I felt like. And then when I saw him at summer camp, he was joking with some of the other counselors. He was making fun of where I lived. He was making fun of, he was making fun of the place he saw me run out of, the apartment I ran out of. And it just, at that point, like something inside of me just really kind of died. Something, like here was this one place where I really felt kind of okay, and now that place didn't feel okay to me anymore. So, so high school went on, and God gave me some good gifts, and I was a storyteller, and I was always concerned though, like I always needed to be around more people, or everything was always started to be, we need to change this, we need to do that. I'd go to a party and then I'd have to go to another part. Like, where's the party? Well, we're at the party. Something never felt kind of okay. I just never felt okay. I always felt like I was trying to make things okay. And things weren't bad. I had some great times. I was having fun. But on the inside, I didn't know who I was at all. I didn't have any beliefs. I didn't have any real values. And how I felt about me was based upon how you felt about me. And when I was 14, I got emancipated. I couldn't live at my family's home anymore. My brother had moved away to live with my grandparents, and he and I weren't close. And after he'd moved away, I'd spent a lot of time in our room by myself, and it made me, I think, real sad because my brother's bed was in there and my bed was in there. And every kind of like year, every 6 months, he would say, or my mom would say he might come back and live with us again, and he didn't come back. And I don't fault him for it or anything. He had his own walk with our environment, and he needed to find a place for him to be well. And he's gotten very well over the years. And
howdy.
And anyhow, but it all, like, I was just in this room, and I wanted things to be different, and I was a scared kid, And this is before I moved out of my mother's home, and I just remember being really scared. I remember being at night that, our neighborhood was scary, and it was just, we grew up like it was, kind of poor white and poor black was like right over from us, and it was just, it was scary. When people get real impoverished, like, things get scary. And I was just scared. And at night I was a scared kid. I remember, like, I would wet the bed all the time, And I remember, there was one time when I was young, I heard that if an animal had urinated somewhere, that other animals couldn't come get that animal. And so I remember at that point, sometimes I would urinate off my bed, around my bed in a big circle at night, so that things couldn't come get me. I was just creating this crazy like world inside of me that was a lot of fear, and there was a lot of uncertainty, and there was not a lot of systems inside of myself to make myself feel okay. And my mother and I were just disconnected, man. She gave us birthdays and she gave us holidays. But she had to work hard, and I think that she, I don't know if she had the tools really to make me feel loved, So anyhow, I got emancipated
Yeah,
at
they're down
14.
to
I
right
ended up living with a family for the first time. I had my own room, and I had peace. I had some peace in my life. I mean, just like moments where I just felt like I could relax a little bit. But this thing inside of me of not feeling okay was still very much there. And, you know, I developed issues with women where, you know, I had a really tough time relating to women and trusting women and feeling okay and really being able to commit to relationships. And at some point, you know, life went on, things were going okay. But I started using at some point cocaine a little bit.
Gotti.
And I liked cocaine
let's
because
go up the
I
top,
would get
let's
it
go
and
up
do
top.
it by myself at home at night. And I would just do it, and it just made me feel good, and I didn't have to be around other people. And
It's
I don't know, it just made me feel something. It made me feel something.
I'm gonna.
And for so long inside of myself, I'd had so many years really of creating my own feelings on the outside of me, but not really having them inside of me. You know, like, I just didn't have feelings inside. Like, if I wanted to feel something, I had to think it up and then act it out and display it as I'd seen it displayed in like television or movies or from others. But the inside of me, there wasn't a lot going on.
Hey, let's go.
So anyhow, like and I wasn't getting crazy into drugs or anything like that, but I had one night where I ended up in a taxi cab and a woman said something to me, kind of rejected me in like a mean way. And I hadn't done anything wild. I just, had, expressed some interest, and she expressed interest, and then I returned the expression, and then she was mean to me. And she didn't reject me. Rejection is fine, but she was mean to me also. And next thing you know, the taxi driver dropped her off. We were in a taxi, and next thing you know, I end up with the taxi driver. 4 hours later, me and him are doing cocaine together, and
Every child deserves a family. If you're thinking about growing yours, find out more about adopting a waiting child. Call 1-877-236-7807 or visit adoptnow.ca.
Hey, get that good. Hey, good old.
and I'm driving the taxi. And he's in the back. He's in the back with an escort. He bought me an escort. I don't want no escort. You know, Luigi, that was the guy's name. And we're in North Harlem, and I'm driving a taxi, and the meter is still running. I'm still paying for that taxi. And that morning, I was in New York because I had to be on. I was in New York. I had to be on a big radio show called the Opie and Jim Norton Radio Show, and they had like 1 million listeners, and it was a huge opportunity. And if you'd asked me the night before, hey man, are you going to stay up all night partying before you go into the radio, I'd have said, no way. I would never do that. And then here I was in this moment, and it's 5 a.m. I got to go to the radio. You know? I mean, I got to my hotel after driving taxi and then paying for it. Dude, just blown out of my mind, dude. I couldn't feel my face with either hand. At first, I thought something was wrong with my hands, but then I realized something wrong with my face. And I get to the radio station. Dude, I took 3 showers in 10 minutes before I went there. So you want some really, some svelte dust if you're taking 3 showers in 10 minutes and drying off between each one. And that's cocaine, papa. And I get to the radio station, and the other guest, and I can't even talk.
Come on, guys, we got this.
And the other guest for the day was Darryl Strawberry, who was a Hall of Fame baseball player. And you can look him up, and he's one of the greatest baseball players ever, but his career was really altered by cocaine. And here he was. I was on the radio with him. I had collected his cards when I was young, and I couldn't even talk. The main gift that God had given me was my voice, and I couldn't even use it because I'd been up all night just using drugs to feel good somehow, or using drugs to feel anything. And And that was crazy because I'd always thought in my head, oh, so Daryl Strawberry, you thought about him and you thought, oh, he's on drugs, he's this and that, he ruined his life. But then here he was in front of me. He was 13 years sober, he was eloquent, successful, and I mean, he was a dang king sitting in front of me. And at one moment, that's where some things lined up in my life. That's where some things lined up in my mind and said, oh, hey, look. Here you are with this gift you think you have that you can communicate. Go. You can't even talk. Shit. Because you fucked up, bruh. Because you've been out driving taxi. And here you are with somebody who you thought or had judged as being fucked up. And here he is a king. And it just lined things up in a perfect moment where I just had this moment of like, oh, something needs to change for me. And the next day I was back in Los Angeles. I was telling that same story to someone, and they said, hey man, I go to these meetings, I go to meetings. And so then I went to some AA meetings, and
can we get a mercy?
And for the first time in my life, I sat down and listened to people tell stories, which were my favorite thing to hear. My whole life I'd been loving stories, man. I love your story. Whatever your story is, I love it, man. Because all my life when I was young, I just wanted a different story. I wanted a different story. Whether I had to tell it or try and live yours, whether I had to get emancipated and come live at your house or this house or that house. I just wanted a different story, man. I wanted to be in a family, and I wanted to feel loved, I just really, I think, and I didn't even know it. I didn't know how much I wanted to, how much I wanted to be loved, man. I just didn't even know it. And once I got into these rooms, you had to sit there, you had to be quiet, and you had to hear other people. And people started talking and telling their stories. And for the first time in my life, they were telling emotional, tales that were exciting and fucking dope and deep and real, and I connected with that. I loved it. I loved it, and so I just kept going. And next thing you know, I had a couple nights in a row, or a couple weeks in a row, or months in a row where I was spending time with other people, and I was meeting people, and suddenly Los Angeles became this place that I'd always kind of hated and judged. It became a little bit, I still don't like that place. People are out of their fucking minds out there. Bunch of disconnected kooks judging most of the rest of America. But it also it gave me a place to it just gave me friends, it gave me people. And because I know those people had struggles, I knew that they'd felt some of the same ways that I felt inside. I couldn't judge those people, even though sometimes I wanted to. You'd have a dude come in and he'd lost his family, or he'd lost his kids and been taken away by the courts, and he's drinking, or a woman who'd addicted to heroin, and she's hadn't seen, and finally they're getting their lives back together, and you just they say listen for the similarities, not the differences. And I always in my life, sometimes I'd always wanted to listen for differences, because differences gave me an ability to separate me from other people. And if I'm just me by myself, then I know that I'm okay, because it's the only thing I've ever known. The only way I've ever been okay really is by being by myself. I don't know an okay where I'm attached to others, where I trust others at a place deeper than my own feelings, a place that I don't really know. But for the first time in these rooms, I could do it. For the first time in these rooms, I started man, I had love for people that I did not even know. And then in moments, and still this stuff kind of comes slow, but I start to have love for myself, And the hardest thing for me to do in my life has been to love myself, because somewhere in my life, in my story, or when I was young, or I don't know when, I think just because of maybe my dad being so old, and my mom not feeling like my mother cared about me or whatever. It's not a sob story. I'm not telling you that, but I'm just telling you that I'd never really loved myself because
Ryan's going left side.
somewhere in my past and like a long time before that, I guess I just had felt like I wasn't worth it. And it's sad. It's tough to kind of admit some of that, but and it wasn't a choice I made even like consciously. It's not like somebody said, "Hey, are you worth loving yourself?" I would have said yes, but somewhere deeper than that, like somewhere when I was young or when, I don't know, or just somewhere before that, I just decided that I wasn't. I just looked at my surroundings and I don't know, I just had felt, or my life, or whatever the recipe was that was in my life, I looked at that and I was like, oh yeah, you're not
Good guy.
you don't deserve, or you're not good, or you're bad, you're a bad person or something. I don't know, I still don't know. There's still a lot for me to learn. Anyway, this story is a little bit emotional for me, but this is the story that I tell. And so since I got into going to meetings and stuff like that, and look, I wasn't a cokehead. I have friends that are cokeheads. My coke use was probably, it was over a couple years, maybe once every few months, maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year. But then there was a point over about 3 weeks or maybe 6 weeks, I don't know, where it had escalated, and it was just kind of like, it was like once a week, and then it was like, the last 2 weeks it was like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm pissed sometimes. I'm like, fuck, I wish I never even got to smoke crack. I don't want to be a crackhead, but fuck, I'll take a hit or two just to see what everybody's talking about down at the down at the Greyhound. But since then, in this program, I've learned like, I've just, I don't feel alone. I don't feel as alone as I used to. And I'm learning to have different feelings about myself and different ways to think about myself. And it's a program of action though. Like I have to work and I have to like go to, some of these meetings, and I go to the meetings, man. It's so funny that God used, or my higher power, people say higher power, God, whatever. I believe in God. I believe in God. And so much out here in like this business I'm in, they try to like make you feel like it's not cool to do that, but I'm not going to feel that way for me, because I need that. In the program too, that the AA, it's cool because it's not about the drugs and alcohol, man. I never liked drinking. I was never a pothead. I just started to see like, oh man, if you'd asked me one day, will you go to this great opportunity you have on this radio station with, one of the biggest radio shows in the world, would you go on that fucked up? I'd have said, no way. And then here I was doing something that I wouldn't have done. So that's when I realized like, I wasn't even doing things that I really wanted to be doing. And now my life has gotten better, man. It really has. And sometimes I don't even want to admit that. There's something inside of me sometimes that wants to make me separate from other people, There's something that wants to make me alone, because it's part of the only way that I ever knew how to be. And man, it has been a journey. Nothing with the drugs and alcohol has been whatever. I don't know if I'll always be sober. I have no idea. But the thing that keeps me involved is, man, I get to learn so much about myself, about loving others, about acceptance. It's introduced me to other issues that I have that, maybe drugs and alcohol aren't even my issue. It's just introduced me into a world of like introspection. Like for the first time, I can take a look at myself. And I still look, I got a ton of faults. I'm not, but I know that if I stay like on this path, that things can get better. I believe that because there's proof for me. You know, my career has gotten better. You know, I've met people that have loved me. You know, I've been in and out of a relationship with somebody that loved me, you know, and for one of the first times in my life that I really felt that. Not that other people hadn't loved me in the past, but this was the first time I could feel it. You know, and it's just because something had changed inside of me where, you know, where I didn't need to just have all these walls up or whatever to survive anymore. Like, you know, I think my higher power wants to tell me, look, man, you're going to be okay. You know, you can take a break. You know. And anyway, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I'll always be a part of this program or not, but you know, for the first time in my life, like this story, like that's a, you know, I can tell you a true story. You know, all the years of like having a lie and like, you know, be ashamed of who I was or what I was or anything like that. Like, it's still okay to tell stories. It's okay to create and be, you know, want to bring people together and be a storyteller and think about things, and that's all okay. But for the first time in my life, I have a little bit of a story of my own. You know, and there are moments, you know, not always, but there's moments where I don't feel as ashamed of myself as I did for so long, man. You know, I was so ashamed of myself for things I didn't even, nothing. Really for nothing. Just because at a young age, nobody had told me not to be ashamed of myself. You know, nobody had told me, hey man, you're okay. You know, nobody had told me, hey man, you are okay. And you're not a bad person. So, and that's what keeps me coming back to these programs, man, and the shit is lit. And it's fun, man, and every time I go, I get to hear a story that makes me feel. It makes me realize that I have a heart and that I'm a loving person. Because for so much of my life, I wanted to know that about myself, and now I go into these rooms and I hear other people's stories, and I feel a certain way, and there is proof right there inside of me, living inside of my body, through feeling and through love, and that's dope, man. This shit is fucking dope. And so that's kind of where I'm at, man. I would it's 11 p.m. now here on and I had some calls, man. Look, I want to play one or two calls that came in. And I'm sorry, look, you know, I'm not sorry about my story, but I'm sorry, you know, I had a headache. I didn't want to tell that story tonight, because I wanted to be able to tell it best as I could. And it's hard to think sometimes when your head is hurting, you know. But, you know, my relationships have gotten better these days. You know, my brother and I mean, I'm so close to my brother these days, like it's, you know, it's wild. You know, and you know, and I've met like a couple of the greatest people I've ever met, like through AA. You know, I've learned about like unconditional love and things like that. Not things that I'm able to practice yet, but at least for the first time in my life, you know, I'm aware of some of these things. And more will be revealed, man. That's what they say in that program. More will be revealed. You know, when you can develop a relationship with a higher power, you can do what you want. They got coffee. They got shitty cookies. You know, it's a fucking trap house, but where people get together to share good time. Real time. And then, look, it's just like the comedy club this weekend, man. Dude, you could, in one room, you probably could have bought a gram in there. But in that other room, dude, we made some damn magic this weekend. Bro, we lit that motherfucker on fire. And I'm grateful to everybody that came out. It's the holidays. You know, I'm so excited, man. I get to go home. You know? I mean, I have I got 5 nieces and nephews today that love me. You know? And even if they don't, I get to watch, like, my siblings be parents. You know, I get to watch my siblings love their children in a way that we never got to experience. And I'm awake for that. And that's cool, man. That for me, man, this shit is a ride, bro. This shit is a ride. So I know this shit got a little bit emo on this episode, and I know it looks like I'm interrogated. This is not an ISIS interrogation video. If you look it on YouTube, it really looks like a trap house. But you know, I feel, you know, and I don't. Sometimes they say, you know, you're not supposed to talk about sobriety in a public forum and stuff like that. But whatever, man. You know, I've never been somebody to follow really the rules. I don't think. Sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But I'm so grateful to everybody that came out this weekend because they changed my experience. You know, on Thursday I was kind of stressed, or Friday I was like, this place. And by the end I was like, man, it doesn't matter where we are. You know, at our shows we have a good time. And we do it as, you know, at a fair price. And I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful to the group of people that I get to be a part of now, even at my own shows. You know, at our shows, we get to do that. And I feel like we're going to do a lot of cool stuff in the coming year to help others. And I just appreciate it, man. You know what's interesting, too, for me is, like, this podcast, a lot of times, even over the years, like, maybe there was a time or two I thought on a Saturday night, man, I'm going to get fucked up, you know? But then I had to be here for this podcast on Sunday. And so, you know, I don't know. Maybe, you know, you guys kept me out of the dark sometimes here and there. And again, if you're partying, you drinking, you getting fucked up, if I'm at your house, you're doing coke, I don't care. That's fine. If y'all shooting up, I'm leaving, bro. Okay? If you needling, if you fucking wrote haystack on your arm and you fucking needling yourself, I'm out, daddy. But if you guys, you know, your cousin's on fucking 9 Tylenol and y'all blowing a blunt in the G-Raj, bro, I'm fine. You know, I don't care if you drink, I don't care if you fucking, you know, pour meth down your fucking stepdad's, you know, esophagus. That's okay. You can do whatever. You don't have to adjust any of your life for me, anything like that. People don't need to be, there's nothing, you don't have to be weird around these kind of people. You know, my biggest problem, I realized, it wasn't with drugs or alcohol. My biggest problem was with the way that I felt. And I am relieved of some of that. And I'm learning more all the time, man. And that's where I'm at. You know, that's where I'm at. And I'm so thankful that, in a weird way, like all those times of storytelling and lying to people and just, you know, I just wanted to seem okay to them, you know. You know, lying about, you know, where my dad was or who he was, or, you know, lying about why I was walking through somebody's neighborhood after school because I didn't even live in that neighborhood, you know. And just all kind of stuff, man. You know, it's interesting because all that time of storytelling now, you know, the things that didn't serve me before, now it serves me. Now I'm able to go to a place and, you know, and share stories. So, I mean, I think, you know, God works in mysterious ways, man, and also in unmysterious ways, but also in way motherfucking mysterious ways. But thank you guys so much for being here with me this weekend. I'm going to take one call, man, because, you know, a lot of calls have come in about this over the years, and I want to do an episode about people that have been involved, but I want to hear this guy's call. Oh, here we go.
Hey, Mr. Theo Vaughn. My name's Sam from New Jersey.
What's up, Sam? Thanks for calling. In New Jersey, I did a show up there in a Holiday Inn. In a Holiday Inn, I don't know if you ever... Damn, I got snot nose like a dang child. If you ever been to Holiday Inn or not, but it is a... I mean, it used to be nice and now it's not, but it smells like chlorine sometimes in the lobby, or it used to. Onward.
And I just wanted to get your opinion on, or, you know, since you're sober, for someone who's considering or making attempts to get sober as well, stop drinking. Any tips, like when you first started out, especially dealing with social situations, how you keep yourself, you know, on the straight and narrow?
Word up, man. I'll tell you, for me, dude, yeah, it's up to you. If you think you're sober, you're not sober, that's your call. Only you know. I can't tell you if you are or not. I can't tell you if you need to be. I don't know if I'll always be. I might leave off this video screen and go gram up out in the street, son. It's Christmas, bro. You know? It's snow time, dude. I might, hang up downside from a tree and catch a couple of flakes up my snout. But I might not. You know what, man? I just kind of embraced it a little bit. I told people in the beginning, I just don't drink. I'm taking a break, blah, blah, blah. And then in my line of work, man, some of my favorite comedians do not drink. They do not. I mean, like, y'all know Chris D'Elia, my arch nemesis. And he's never had a drop of anything. Some of the greats, and right now in my life, it's just like, it's okay for me to kind of say that. And also, if you get into AA, there's so many other people that do not drink. It's crazy. You don't realize it. So anyway, so that's that, man. I don't think I'm cool because of AA or anything like that, but I don't think I'm not cool because of being sober. All right, let's hear another call.
CEO, Greg from Indianapolis.
What's up, Greg? And Greg is almost spelled the same backwards and forwards. Onward.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang, brother. Thank you.
So I want to call and say, I celebrated my 1 year sobriety yesterday. I'm sitting here listening to your podcast.
Man, congratulations, dude. I will say that, congratulations. A year doing anything, I find, is really awesome. If you tell yourself you're going to read part of a book every day for a year, but if you're going to take a break from drugs and alcohol for a year, onward, man. I want to hear you. I want to hear more from you. Enough from me. Congratulations, Greg.
It's just crazy to me that how hard it is, but how rewarding it was, and how much you and everybody helped me through this and made this year the best year of my life. Honestly, I just want to call and say thank you for all you've done for me. And I know you don't take compliments well, but I got to give them where they're due. And I just want to say I appreciate you and everybody else to really get me through what was the toughest thing to do in my life. Now is what's really the most rewarding for me. So I just want to call and say thank you. All right, man. Be easy on them out there, and gang, gang.
Gang, gang, man. And you're welcome, man. It's funny, yeah, I don't take compliments well. I don't even know why that's the case sometimes. But I learned the other day at a meeting, if somebody says something, just say, it's my pleasure. And thank you for that call, because that makes me so excited, bruh. Just to hear that, it's cool, dude. It's just cool. It doesn't make me excited because I didn't do anything. That's you did that. But to hear you feel excited about yourself, and to know that maybe for a long time in your life you didn't feel that way, and now you can voice that and feel good about yourself. I can relate to that, man. I can relate to that at such a level that, man, you just made me feel really, really good. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We'll get to some other calls next week because we still got to edit this cat and put it up. Man, this might be the Emo Nemo too. I don't know. We got into it tonight. Some people will at me and say, Theo, you shouldn't talk about sobriety and AA and stuff like that in a public forum, but maybe I'm fucking up. I don't know. But I think at least for my listeners, you at least kind of have an idea now. And I don't need people, asking me, hey man, you used to, I don't need I don't need anybody check. I don't need anything like that. I don't need I don't need anything special. I don't need any special treatment. I'm fine. So, I don't want you, sometimes people hear the word sober and they think it's this crazy thing. It's not a crazy thing. I wasn't ever in, but there's a lot of people that struggle. And if you meet one of them, at least now you have an idea that sometimes it has nothing to do with what's going on outside. Sometimes it's a lot of things that's going on the inside. But inside and outside, so grateful for this podcast and for you guys coming out this weekend. We sold them out. They're sold out in Lexington this coming weekend. We're sold out in Addison. Man, I am fortunate to be able to meet so many neat people. So looking forward to it. We'll see you guys next time, and we'll leave out on that my boys Bishop Gunn, who are actually in town tonight. I just found out they're in town tonight here in in Washington, D.C., but I just got a text from Byrne a few minutes ago, the drummer. Yeah, they're in town. I don't think I'm going to be able to see them, but...
Greetings from Podcastville. The Church of What's Happened Now is brought to you by Stamps.com. Listen, how busy are you going to be this holiday season with errands and this and this and that, especially at the post office? That's why you got to use Stamps.com. It saves you so much time during this hectic holiday season. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Post Office right to your desktop. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class mail using your own computer and printer, and the mail carrier picks it up. No trips to the post office required. It couldn't be easier. What I'm going to do is this. I use Stamps.com. My wife uses it to send out T-shirts and mugs. It is a tremendous service. And right now, you can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Go to Stamps.com right now. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Joey, Joey. That's Stamps.com. Enter Joey. Listen, you're not going to be sorry. Whether your business is small or large, Stamps.com is the way to go. The Church of What's Happened Now is also brought to you by Onnit. Listen, Onnit's doing some great fucking things over there. I mean, I live and die with them. They've been with us since the beginning, and you guys know I use all their products, from the fucking kettlebells to the Shroom Tech Sport to the Shroom Tech Immune. It's Christmas time. They just had a sale, and the sale keeps going on. If I was you guys, I want to start the year off with a bang. Go to Onnit.com right now and press in church. Start off with the Alpha brand. If you don't like the Alpha brand, it's 100% money back guarantee, and they don't want the product back. Who does that? When was the last time you bought weed, you didn't like it, you brought it? Never! Go to Onnit.com right now and press in.
Church.
Bam! And get 10% off, and it gets delivered right to your house, all right? It's Monday, December 3rd. Let's get this party started. Kick this fucking mule, Lee. Happy Monday to you cocksuckers. What's happening? Ricky Rocket in the house. What's up, buddy?
In the house. So good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Look
Why
beautiful.
the hell do you have me on here again?
Because you're spectacular. Because you're spectacular.
You know what? It's nice because I had to go see the ex-wife before I came over here. Go drop some stuff off to the kids. And it made me think about something.
Yeah, everyone group up.
I remember that when I was seeing her, when we were together, somebody stole my credit card, right? But I never bothered to report it because the guy that stole it was spending less than her. You can use that. That's free.
Now, the ex-wife, how's your relationship?
It's fine.
You talk? You're
we
civil.
talk. Yeah, we're civil.
That's the most important fucking thing.
Yeah.
The ex-wife war could be fucking...
well, we've been through that, too. You know.
So now you're civil. Now you put your differences aside.
Yeah. For the sake of the kids, man. You know, they say stay together for the kids. No, go apart and learn to work together apart. That's the best for the kids when you can't get along. We did everything we could, and it just wouldn't work.
When people stay together for the kids see it.
Absolutely, 100%.
They feel it.
Yeah,
they feel it.
They do. They do.
The kids feel it, and you're doing the kids this justice anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, divorce is a fucking motherfucker. I was talking to a guy this weekend that got divorced after 37 years. Like, what do you do? 37 years.
Yeah. How old's the guy?
Let's say he's 60. You know,
what are you gonna do?
What do you do? Like, that would be, as honest as I am with you guys, it would be my biggest fear to lose my wife because I would be completely lost.
Well, I mean, like George Bush, he was lost when Barbara died.
Lost.
That's why he died. I mean,
I entrusted my life.
No, he was old too. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, you know,
plug in your mic and stop typing.
After my mom went, my dad was a year behind her.
Yeah, my wife is my... I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the house, the mortgage, the rents, the car payments.
Isn't that funny how they wind up running the show, right?
She's an accountant by trade.
She's an accountant?
This is what she does.
Man, do you have a prenup? Huh? Do you have a prenup?
No. I couldn't have a prenup. How can you have a prenup with somebody who saw you grow from nothing. I couldn't have a prenup.
Well, yeah, that's different.
I would not even.
My ex-wife came into it. I was already Poison had already done.
Right.
We were. I mean, all our pivotal records had already been recorded by the time we got involved. So.
I'm talking. You move out here from Pennsylvania. Moving, a girl sleeps in a car with you for a week until you find an apartment.
Right.
Doesn't give you
It's
any
different
shit.
deal. Yeah.
You get an apartment with her. You have your ups and downs. All of a sudden, you join a band. You got to. What are you gonna do? Dump her? The karma that you're gonna have on you.
I did. No.
The karma that's gonna be on you is gonna be the stench of 10 dead fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
So you don't want that stench on you. So somebody who's been there with you. But here's another side of that coin. That when I got married because she stuck it out with me in prison.
Yeah.
The first wife.
The first wife. When I came out, I felt obliged.
Everyone group up.
Even though we were having ups and downs, I felt like she stuck it out with me. I ended up marrying her, and it backfired.
Yeah.
So there's two sides to every coin, guys.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But my girl went through all the cancer stuff with me, but it wasn't like I don't feel obliged. I mean, of course I do to some degree, but that's not why I'm with her. I feel like she showed me the side of her that I was looking for in somebody. There was other candidates, you know what I mean, but somebody that will, really stand by you. I mean, come on, man, that's gold. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just...
You cannot... I'll never forget that her and I had been dating about 2 or 3 years. And at that time, I don't know if it was A&E, they did a series of stories about different actors and comics. And they did a story about Kennison.
Oh, right.
And they go that he dated a girl in the beginning and dumped her, and she knew he was just using her,
Right.
And I'll never forget that. My wife at the time, after like 2 or 3 years, looked at me and she goes, I hope you'll never do anything like that. If you ever happened. No.
Did you know Kennison?
No.
I did. Cece hung out with him a lot.
Right. Cece and him were tight.
Yeah,
but that was,
they were.
That was.
And so, therefore, I saw him a lot. You know what I mean? Personally, I think Cece is wittier and funnier than Sam Kinison.
You have no... I thought... There was a time when I first moved here where I'd see Cece, and he'd honestly make me laugh. There's people who make you laugh with their wit, but there's people that their body language cracks me the fuck up, and Cece is one of those guys.
Who's Cece?
The guitar player from Poison.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But it's really weird. He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So he's got that natural character, who else is like that? Ace Frehley.
Yeah, he is.
Ace Frehley, I think in the early interviews, I can't control myself some nights. I go into a kiss hole, and I get in, early ones when Gene would be furious, and Ace Frehley would be high as fuck, cracking jokes
laughing
and shit.
His ass off. I remember once some interview he was doing. He was laughing about something where they said, what else are we going to do? Be plumbers?
Yeah.
And he's laughing his ass off about it. And Gene's like, all serious,
He's howling.
Yeah.
But the last couple of interviews I seen him with, ever since he got clean and sober, he's not that funny no more.
Oh,
now he's more, he's more focused on the music, which I love Ace. No disrespect to him. I just think ever since he got sober, he's just a little bit more tighter now in his interviews.
All right, now sorry. It's like a kick drum. The Kiss reunion, or not reunion, but supposedly it's going to be the last tour we're talking about.
Right.
It's got to be with Ace and Peter, don't you think? I don't think Peter will do it.
That is causing that tour, isn't it? That tour could be. All right, we're looking at Stones tickets for $800.
Right.
I think this Kiss Army tour could be $1,200 a ticket, and they could get away with it. But they gotta have Ace, and they gotta have the other guy. But then something else happened that destroyed the tour. It's done.
Yeah.
Unless you're fucking crazy, because last Monday on what's his name show, they busted out Paul Stanley. His voice is gone.
Is it really?
So he's gonna do this tour lip sync.
Seriously?
The people that are in the know like in music. Like Paul Stanley got that operation, and instead of recovering properly, and I'm not even part of the Kiss Army.
It fucked it up?
This is what I learned just listening to that guy on Mondays. What's his name?
I don't know.
The guy on Sirius that I like, Jim Florentine's buddy. They have a metal show together.
Oh, okay.
You know, Michael Trunk, Eddie Trunk.
Oh, Eddie Trunk.
Eddie Trunk.
Yeah.
I love.
Sure.
On
I love
Mondays,
Eddie Trunk.
I get in the car just to listen to fucking Eddie Trunk.
Yeah, no, Eddie's the shit.
So last Monday, busted out. I caught the tail end. I had the baby.
Yeah.
I had to take her to Muay Thai. You know, the first 10 minutes of Muay Thai, I can sit outside. My wife's with her, but then I have to go in and watch the class. So I just heard the thing that they're doing the tour, but they taunted people. Because they've been taunting people. They did the Kiss Cruise, and they had fucking Ace come on and do 2 songs. You know, these Kiss people are serious. Poison people are serious. Led Zeppelin people are serious.
Right.
You know, you remember as a child growing up in Pennsylvania, and I've always used this argument because America forgets this argument. There was a time before 1979 that no matter what fucking album you liked, there was always one asshole in the circle that said, it doesn't matter if the Leonard Skinner's good, but they're not better than the Beatles. Wait till the Beatles get back together. Do you remember that? Before John Lennon got shot, there was always one fucking nerd in the room that didn't like whatever. And there was always like that, you know.
Always.
You know,
there's one naysayer, of course.
You're with 6 16-year-olds in the room, and you're listening to the new Poison album. And 4 of us are in. One guy is always the, the bass sounds off. There's always that one jerk off. But then there's always that one. Then there's always that one jerk off at the end that goes, "It's a good album, but it doesn't matter. Wait till the Beatles get back together." There was always that one asshole. I was so happy the day John Lennon got shot because all those people fucking had to go fuck themselves. I was happy and sad at the same time because now I can win an argument. I can finally win a fucking fuck you with the Beatles. It's over. But it was weird. Like I don't even know how we got to the topic, but it doesn't really matter.
They take it seriously with their band members.
They take it very seriously. You know, these people. Listen, man, when you're a fan of whoever, you'll pay whatever. You see the prices. We were talking about, there's no money in music. So there's no money in music sales, so that money has to come from somewhere.
Right. A lot of stuff is live stuff. And like I said, like Devil City Angels, my side band, we're negotiating with a label in Australia. They want to do a single at a time. That's how they want to do it. They don't care about a full record all at once, like where you go lock up for 2-3 months, make a record, and then release it, and then keep releasing single. They want to do it one song at a time, and it makes sense. It's like back to the 50s, you know what I mean? Because that's how people consume it now, one thing at a time, quick, you know? It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I just think you have to look at the industry a little differently. People are just like, oh my God, they're just so doomsday about the music industry now. What happened, you know? A lot of things happen. A lot of things change. And a lot of people bitch about the internet. Oh, it's the fucking internet, you know? It's a lot of things happen. I mean, cultural shifts and all sorts of stuff, you know? Rock and roll isn't as dangerous as it used to be. It's just not. And I think that hurt rock and roll. And rock and roll were albums. Rap were albums. That was the last thing to go. It was always the CDs, you know what I mean? The albums, and then of course the CDs. And the CDs were the last things to go. And the last places that it went were the people that were buying rap albums. You know, rock went and then rap went. But rock's not dangerous no more.
We were raised on you giving me $7 for an album concept. Like, I was just thinking about this. Like, I don't know how much music I've bought. I don't know how many millions of dollars I've spent on albums. They got lost. I rebought them. Just the collection, the vinyl I gave away. The vinyl collection I gave away in '84 broke my heart. Like, it was one of those things where you had to turn your back, and I had to like get in the car with tears rolling.
I got a story, and I don't even want to tell you because it would just implicate somebody so bad. But somebody put my records out in the fucking rain. Okay, I'm talking Led Zeppelin 2, all kinds of shit. The Who, Tommy, all kinds of shit. Gone. fucking gone. My collection from. I'm not going to say who it is.
What do you like at that situation? You want to stab a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Especially if you have that type of collection.
I can't even verbalize the things I've thought of, you know?
I
It would
can't.
get me. Arrested.
I can't imagine. Like, there's people who could just go to not Chibo. What's the name of it on Sunset? The music place, Gazebo. Amoeba.
Yeah.
You go to Amoeba, drop $20,000, and have a great music collection.
Yeah, you could.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing, which I refuse to do. I don't know. I'm still into I feel bad that I gave away my albums in '84. I had no choice. I gave them to somebody who was a metalhead chick who still has them, who I trust her, the whole thing. But now that I love these fucking albums.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking.
I love going over to this place over here in Burbank, and I go in there and I walk around for an hour like a moron.
Dude,
it's my
albums-
psychiatry.
Albums are bitching.
You know,
I
I
mean,
don't know how many.
there were firms, right, that's all they did was come up with album concepts and photography and graphics and stuff. And now that's a digital form, and those companies are gone, and people have moved on. But I mean, people would just be like, how many kids did you know in school, right, that the thing they wanted to do was grow up and be an artist for an album cover? I want to do album covers. I want to do art for album covers. I mean, it literally begged people to create another art form, this square that would open up. You know what I mean? And we don't have that anymore. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a few, but it's not like it was.
No, I always say that they took away that whole. Listen, I grew up on Saturday mornings watching cartoons. Saturday morning,
too.
American kids, you watch cartoons.
Once 30
Once you outgrew that, it got to the point where you went on whatever your main street was in your hometown, where they had the sporting goods, and they had the comic book store, and they had the music store, all in different parts.
Right.
You and your buddies would walk for miles without complaining in the wintertime, humidity, fleas, the whole fucking thing. It didn't matter. Where today you wouldn't do that.
Right.
That feeling of going to the record store and like, you're going to get something, I'm going to get Sabotage, you're going to get Pink Floyd,
just follow things pretty much.
Metal,
just farm the
and
crap.
Lee's going to get Rolling Stones Made in the Shade. But the
Cool thing is, is there? Oh, can you hear my mouse? Can you hear my mouse going around? I don't know.
My will made real.
Ah, fudge, he's just gone. He's dead, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. Nah, go back. Only one person. Ah, my server failed. My server went down. Ah, shoot!
Oh, there's
That
Hanzo.
changes my thinking.
Their Hanzo's probably... I don't know, the Hanzo's kinda good, the Hanzo's not really all that good though. Trust me. Oh shoot, I messed up. Adultery, duh. Come on, don't let him cap it. Jump on point. Okay. Nah. Don't give anything easy.
Give them everything they want.
Yes. I'm guessing they have some crappy Smurfs on their team because, like, a level 20 Hanzo, Zen, and Ana, and Doomfist can kind of aim in this rank.
You just forgot to play. You start playing the season.
Anyways, I need to.
This guy's got a 2 after his name.
Careful, 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 careful. Don't get big, no. I blade that one. Ah, shoot, Anna. I'll see what I can do. Oh, Anna, you have now, okay? How quick do you think you can get that? Shit.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Perhaps a new methodology is required.
I know, isn't it, man?
Oh man. I'm sure people pay people just to go on this thing and try.
Okay. Anna, where are you?
Surrender to my will.
They're so weirdly grouped, it's kind of weird. Okay, Anna. Pull. Don't go down now. Okay, see me now. Fudge, I fell. I couldn't get the third. I'm sorry. Next game, I'll get you that crispy achievement. Fudge, I'm kind of lagging.
Help me.
I guess turning the mist doesn't stop bullets.
I'm not dead yet.
Okay, this is in Pop's ulti. I'm 75 on ulti.
Nanoboost is charging.
How close? 50? Oh, fudge, I messed up.
The power of destruction.
Probably.
I'm under attack.
That's huge, man!
76.
Is he done? Where is he? Shut him down. He's done.
That changes my
Fine, I'm trying. Little healing.
This will heal you.
Nice.
Okay, Anna, how close are you? Oh, you're pretty dang close. They're gonna group massively and then push hard. That is when I very much prefer to press Q. Anna, pull back just a touch. Make it easier for you to find me. Okay, you see me? Can you press Q on me yet? You see me? Okay. I'm above you, by the way. Now. If you can. Anna, look up, please. Behind it up. Okay, this. Ah, fudge. They gave him that.
When faced with a setback, we must challenge our assumptions.
Okay, Anna. Nano Reaper. Get him in there and then Nano one fudge.
Yeah.
And he's done.
Rendezvous at my position.
Maybe just give it to me then. Oh crap, is our Anna in chatty? I just realized.
Sniper. 76 up top.
Check. Nah, you're in chat.
We must all make sacrifices in the name of science.
I'm gonna go have a little chat with this soldier real quick.
Come here.
Making me man. Rabbit.
Get into position.
Why would I hold still when they can shoot me easier?
Bearing the damage.
Okay, Anna. I suppose I almost have blade, so we can just. Okay, stand back, Anna. Stand back. Okay. And shoot. Never felt.
Through my face, I guess, if he's a real robot.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, we got to that in a minute.
No, dang.
Good job.
When faced with a setback, we must
What was their
challenge
time?
our assumptions. Score 0-3. Size.
Need some fucking sir.
Select your hero.
Okay, I need to wake up. Wake up, wake up. Oof. Cake, if you would go Ana again. You just need to work on awareness and positioning because you're kind of way in there. Ana doesn't need
Mercy,
to be really...
Mercy, easier.
Or Mercy, yeah, Mercy's easier. True.
He just tapped the right
Plus
button.
res.
Come on, give us a fucking...
Although, I seriously hate pressuring people into playing Mercy in this meta.
Nah,
Sorry,
Mercy's alright. And plus you got the shift button. Let's keep you busy.
I know. I suppose we are in bronze, not diamond. Sorry.
Diamond, I wouldn't fucking be close to diamond. Maybe I can be coal. I can be the opposite of diamond.
Don't worry, man. Every cold shine.
Write your name with me. That's about it.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Man, I'm getting tired. That's why. I can't think fast enough. I need, like, caffeine and tea.
Methamphetamines.
Nah, man. I'm 100% legit. This is legit skill. No, no turn bots. No aim bots.
Be careful with the Widowmaker.
Achievements
He's aiming right.
Call of Duty game. The first day it was out. I got it legit.
He's dead. They have a widow. Where's he? Hey, somebody heal me. Are you trying to heal me while shooting me? That is priceless. I've never seen...
Back in the fight. It's just a scratch.
Walk it off. Widow got me. Widow's one, by the way.
My heart's two.
Yeah. I'm back. Where's the Widow? There. There's soldiers behind, by the way. Not for long though. Come on, take our monkey. Come on, the Ryan's dead.
That should be all of them for a little bit.
Fudge. Okay. Okay, now Ana, remember, nano blades, okay?
Oh god. We got Reinhardt. Work to be done. Reinhardt and
come on.
Ult is the ultimate. Ultimate. Ult U squared. I am moving the payload.
No, we don't.
Exponential.
Wait a minute. What the fudge? We should be all on PC, right? We're all taking PC advantage here, right?
Systems looking terrible.
Fudge, where'd the Ana go? Ana disappeared.
I have big guns for you.
The heavy cruiser.
And Ana got me. Don't worry, Cake, I'll have bleed up in a moment.
What?
Those new players on their team are so peculiar. They have no game sense, yet they have some hacking. They're not even that good. I'm guessing they came from like Fortnite and PUBG. So they have some kind of aim.
See through walls and stuff and shoot through walls. Still got tournaments on that.
Maximum power jump.
Counter-Strike's an interesting game.
Couldn't get a game without being fucking beaten down by a bunch of fucking robots.
Oh,
shit, motherfuckers. This is my drain all move. All that fucking clearing.
Holy crap, man.
Come on, Genji.
Ready to work.
2 good hits now, you get your ult.
Yeah. So Nanoblade next fight. Nanoblade next fight now. Cake, like I was talking about before, think about positioning. You say just a little bit in the back.
Yes.
Just a little
bit.
bit.
Fire back's possible, actually.
You can kind of see everything. Okay, I've got a few.
You'll be alright.
Okay, he popped ulti. Like, there couldn't be anything more perfect about the situation.
Your name's all weird. I'm scared.
Fudge on the bad day. Na 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 na. Logical warfare.
Not quite as good as chlorine gas, but Close our flamethrower.
Soldier. Okay, Anna, you ready? Next big team fight, we're gonna nano blade. You ready?
Run a shot across the ground.
Okay, Anna. See me. 3, 2, 1. No, I got stuck. I couldn't get you the blade. I'm sorry.
For special attack.
Yeah,
Well,
you can stop that shit, dude. How are we gonna stop that?
Nope.
Score 3-3. Switching sides. Prepare your defense.
Okay. Hey, Cake, do you have the cute Anna spray, by the way? Yeah, okay.
Fancy. What's this fucking deja vu?
Deja vu! No, 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 no.
Build them up, break them down.
Kids. Cross heads.
I'm overloaded.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I'm having a weird having weird ping. We're all NA West, right? Or Midwest? Okay.
I have big guns for you.
Har, matey. Me turds made of wood.
4,
Diddly-dee.
3, 2, 1. Attackers
Nice.
They have a tracer that's being damage boosted? Nah, it's No, I had to reload, fudge!
Turrets being destroyed. Guard on that.
60 seconds
Roadhog check.
remaining.
Show them what you can do.
Hey, buddy. Let's go. Come on. They have a tracer behind. Yeah. There's a tracer. No, this tracer's kind of bad.
Much better.
I mean, I wasn't good at tracer when I was bronze. Also, so, I mean...
I should pick something like that instead of picking all your fucking characters.
What? Oh, Mercy damage boost him. Fudge! So I took the risk. Dang it, I didn't see that. Moira, I need you to res me. Yeah, Moira, could you please res me? Come on, there's a good jump. And now, it's kind of good, except the roll's kind of going because you're letting the worst tracer I've ever seen in my life roll for us. You know what we need? I know what we need. Something substantial. Something blue.
Just need to knock him off.
Something. I know, right? Where are you
That
going?
was the most badass hold I've ever seen in my life.
Hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me!
They even switched to bash and then do shit.
And GG. Is that easy?
Surrender
Yeah,
to
we
my
just
will.
fucking load play. Go that far.
Score 3.
That was a good nano.
Switching sides.
They didn't even make it hard. That's
When does like
sad
solo
part.
skill stop mattering? Like diamond?
When now?
Like solo player skill. Like when you hit diamond, you gotta be able to play as a team, right? Or is it the opposite?
Iffy. It's iffy. It's iffy. Once you get
Same
up
as
to certain
bronze.
high ranks, so people are so. I mean, they have the high rank, they have the golden guns, they have the hours. They're kind of like all soft throwing because they have like nothing to go for, right? So they're either trolling, and the tryhards, the only tryhards are the people going for GM and top 500. So when you run into that, yeah. But yeah, for the most part, everyone has like some kind of mechanical skill and some kind of game sense. Well, you would think most people in Diamond have game sense, but you would be wrong. Anyways.
No, you don't really need it for this game. Even Captain Coattails it the whole way almost. Overwatch
Yeah,
characters
okay. Right, but I mean,
I don't
everyone
play
has their
Blue
character.
Be careful with the Bastion.
Well, Torbjorn, that golden gun man. You got the wins in.
I got the Mercy one too, I don't use either one of them.
I know. They have a Reaper.
Oh, man, 76 is in the house.
Crap. Oh, Fudge, I messed up.
Reaper, get the Reaper.
Fudge, I didn't have reflect. I feel like a moron.
There's a soldier behind us.
Oh, well, that's over. And that's game.
Here comes 76.
Did the soldier just leave? No. No, I'm lagging. GG team. I'm dead.
Okay.
Okay, now Ana better get the spot G. Ana better get the spot G. No, Blizzard, don't do this to me. Ah, fudge. Why'd you give it to me?
Because you were destroying almost everything. Just weren't some people running.
Get in there.
Triple C's. Triple with no outs, for sure. You're getting it no matter what.
Then we get down there and you'd find something cooler. You'd find Metallica on whatever, and we changed. There was something to that. For me
No,
when I was
let me
growing
tell
up.
you something. It would be like, I don't remember what day of the week, but I would get my allowance for doing, chores and stuff like that. And I'd go right down to, I think, Corvettes, the basement, EJ Corvettes, right? And sometimes I'd just look at the cover and go through all these covers and find like the coolest looking cover and go, I'm just going to try this. And sometimes you fucked up. It would be like horrible. You'd be like, But I discovered shit like UFO and stuff like that just by the cover.
The cover.
Because I thought it was so cool. I'm like, they've got to have they have to have good music if they put this much into the cover. That's where my head went.
No,
you know
my
what I
head
mean?
too.
And, so I made you try things. Now it's It's the whole different way. I mean, they did this social experiment. They asked all these kids, hey, what would you rather have, Snapchat or would you rather have iTunes? And like 70% said, we'd rather have Snapchat. I can't even wrap my head around that. Can you?
No.
Music is like ancillary to like a lot of kids growing up now. It's like an ancillary product. It's not like the thing. For us, it was the thing. I'm coming over to your house because you have a better hi-fi system than I do. So I'm going to listen to my new record at your house because you have bitchin' shit. We're going to smoke pot. We're going to listen to the fucking new Zeppelin record. Now it's like, let's go over to his house because he's got a better PlayStation. He's got surround sound PlayStation. So
I never thought about this, Ricky.
I've
never thought about this.
If we could get another piece of product that required a way of listening to things again, like 5.1 surround sound, if that became cool again, which it should, because I've heard records done in 5.1 surround and it's fucking phenomenal. I heard a remix of like Blackwater, in 5.1 and voices are over and it was incredible. Just freaking incredible. Nobody cares. They're fine with this compressed sound that comes off of a laptop, with headphones.
So let me ask you this.
Fake bass.
Who pays $800 for Rolling Stone tickets? Is it 29-year-old kids that go to not Lollapalooza, what's the one in the desert that they paid $250 for a ticket last year? And it was the Stones.
In the desert?
Yeah, what's the one there?
Not Burning Man.
Not Burning Man, but the other one they did.
Nobody pays me.
It's the big one. Like Beyonce just did it.
Yeah.
Oh, Coachella?
Yes.
Coachella.
Right.
Okay, so Coachella's young kids. That's kids
primarily
under 30. Okay. Now, who's going to pay $800 to go see the Stones? Guys our age? Or will there be, like, I was talking to the owner of the Nashville Zanies, and he's a fucking deadhead to the end. Now he got to cut his hair and the whole thing, but he has stories for hours. And he said that last year, 2 years ago, as a joke, he figured he went to see him in Denver. And he said that he had to leave because it wasn't really deadheads. It was kids with deadhead t-shirts on, smoking pot.
Well, you know what? That can happen. You know what I mean? It can be a lot of people rediscover. No, they rediscover things,
right.
But people rediscover things. I mean, the thing is that so many of these bands were a moment in time. I mean, the Rolling Stones are a phenomenon. I mean, if you dissect each guy's playing, are people better guitar players than Keith Richards? I know all this stuff is subjective, okay? But I mean, from a technical standpoint, a lot of people are going to be better guitar players than Keith Richards. But Keith Richards somehow has that grease, and the Stones together feel like they're going to fall off the edge all the time. And you're always like, there's this uneasiness. It's not the imperfection is what's so perfect about them. I mean, it just feels like it's going to fall apart, and then it doesn't fall apart. It stays together, but barely, and you're waiting for the next one. You know what I mean? And there's this tension in their music, and it's like sometimes, Ron's like, even on stage, he's telling, Mick something. You know what I mean? Like there's this crazy exchange, and not every band works that way. Some bands, it's like they're playing to a click and they're just all doing their thing, and it's a great song and the vocals are on and the music's on, and okay, great. How do you come up with a band like the Stone? Even Zeppelin, if you think about it, as good of players as they were, the way they mesh is really what makes it work. What made that band work? You know what I mean? Sometimes, Bonham would be playing in a different time than Page would be playing in, and it would sound like it was in the same time, but it would create this tension. We do it with Poison. CeCe's ahead of the beat, and I sit behind the beat. It's just how it's always been, and there's this thing. And if I play with a different guitar player, it's bitching, and a lot of times we're right on, but there's something between CeCe and I that works. And most drummers and guitar players don't work that way. It's usually bass players and drummers that have that dynamic, Bobby's always right up the middle, glues it together, and that's what makes it work for us,
We had all the components to make a great band. Like, it's just not for great musicians. There's so many. It's invisible jujitsu.
Dude, exactly. If 1 + 1 equaled 2, we'd be doing it all day long.
Doing it all day long. This morning I listened to what I think is a musical masterpiece. It was an album that it just sunk into my head at a weird time in my life when I was just starting to discover who the fuck I was and experiment.
That just
with drugs.
happened for me like a year ago.
No, I listened to Some Girls on the plane today, start to finish. And the one thing I gotta say about it was Keith. I think Keith's guitar work on it, on Some Girls, just the song Some Girls, is phenomenal. Respectable, Beast of Burden. That song, that album has
I love that
so
song.
many fucking great. Beast of Burden just destroys me on the inside.
Yeah.
Destroys me.
It's emotional. I mean, it's, the emotion in their stuff is what, I mean, I heard that the way they record, and I don't know this to be true, but they'll just do one part over and over and over again until it feels right, and then they'll splice that, and then they'll do the next part over and over again until it feels kind of like Pro Tooling, but they did it with splicing tape organically for years and years like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but they're looking for that moment. When we worked when we did the Flesh and Blood record, that's how it was. The producer, God rest his soul, he only wanted 3 takes out of me. And if I didn't get it in 3 takes, he's like, we're moving on to the next song. We'll deal with it either the next day or after lunch or at the end of the day. But I want a snapshot. I want the inspired performance within Bruce Fairburn. For some reason, I forgot his name for a second. He just wanted that that initial feeling within the first 3 takes. I think I did 4 takes on one song, and if I didn't get it, we'll do it tomorrow. I want it inspired. I want it to feel fresh and inspired, and I'll feel it and I'll know it when I hear it. You know what I mean? I couldn't even hear it anymore. We rehearsed the shit so many times. I didn't know when I was inspired and when I wasn't anymore. That's why you need an adult in the room when you're a kid making a record. You know what I mean? Now I think I recognize it, but I probably still don't.
Do you like the recording process?
I do. I love the recording process. I love the live process. I love every piece of making music. I like the writing, all of it. I don't like the business part. I'm not a good business guy. That's why I let Bobby Dahl do it. I'm not a good business person. I just don't like that part. I don't like looking at somebody and saying, you need to pay me this much.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Dick.
I don't like that.
It sucks. Yeah. Dick.
It does.
This club I'm doing this weekend, I'm doing La Jolla this weekend. La Jolla seats 189 tickets. Maybe 190, maybe 195. Most comics avoid it because they can't make any money in there.
Justice will be done.
I wanted to do it because it's the way comedy was meant to be done. I love comics. I love comedians with all my heart. But I think at one time, a venue, you lose that magic. When Mitzi Shaw opened up the La Jolla Comedy Store for 190 seats, she was Jewish. She was greedy, you know what I'm saying? Mitzi Shaw didn't do it. She paid $15 a set. She could have put 400 seats in there if she wanted to, but she didn't. She liked the intimacy of that place, And it's so weird that that's what it was meant to be in the beginning, and now it's become Madison Square Garden. I mean, my favorite did fucking the one place in the city, Lenny Bruce did Carnegie Hall. I get that. But it's got to be the perfect venue.
Were you a big Lenny Bruce fan?
I was a bigger Pryor fan.
Yeah.
But Lenny has something I really dig, and I really like to tap into. When I listen to Lenny Bruce, it makes me, I don't know.
He had some balls.
He had balls. He makes me go crazy. His Jewish thing, like his Jew. I could feel the Jew coming through him on the album, which isn't even meant to be funny or nothing. Happy Hanukkah to all the Jews out there. This was just something about him. He was a tough Jew. Like, he was a tough Jew, and he fucking something just about him.
He was always one step
Yeah.
past everybody else's thinking.
When I read that book,
and when people would catch up to him, they go, "Ah, yeah, that's why he was so."
I loved when I read that book. It changed me. The first time I read that book, I knew I wasn't fucking crazy.
Freddie Prinze, did he mean anything to
Freddie Prinze? Absolutely, because he was Spanish.
Yeah.
So Freddie Prinze came along. You know, I was trying to get Freddie Prinze Jr. does a show with a dear friend of mine, and we were trying to get Freddie on here. And I think I'm happy we couldn't get it together because I think it'd be too emotional for a guy like me.
Oh yeah.
Because it's very rough to explain what happened. It was 1970, you know, and I was a kid and I was learning the language, and I fell in love with all these different people. And the first guy I fell in love with was Roberto Clemente.
Of course.
You know, I love
Sure.
Pete Rose. Fucking Pete Rose was my motherfucker when I was growing up. When I saw him beat up Bud Harrelson.
That guy. Did you know that?
Who's
he has ADHD. Pete Rose.
He has what?
ADHD.
He's got a lot of problems.
He's been out. Yeah, he was
ADHD
gambling.
is the least
He was
of
like
his
crazy.
fucking things. That's why.
But that may have caused some stuff as a
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had all these heroes, you know, Julius Erving. But there was something about Roberto Clemente's death that it was just New Year's Day.
Yeah.
New Year's Day. Like, you know,
Let's
you
start
wake
the-
up New Year's Day and this guy had just fucking hit his 300th hit. Like, this guy was on fire. Like, and all of a sudden there's an earthquake and he's going to bring supplies down. He's going to be a good guy to Nicaragua. And the plane disappears in fucking the Bermuda Triangle. It just destroyed America. Just like people were like, what?
Yeah, man, it's a deep story.
Deep. Like you were like, this is American baseball. And he was fucking Puerto Rican. But if you watch his videos, his English, you could feel his English, how it came through. Like, he really wanted to be an American. He always had a little suit on with a fucking tie and shit.
Yeah.
He was just a badass league. Fucking, if he played the Red Sox, you still cheered for him. He was that type of guy. Like, you're like, you know what, man? I hate the Pittsburgh Pirates. But fuck, and the Dodgers had him. Like, the whole story is the Dodgers had him. And they didn't know what to do with him. And then he went to fucking Pittsburgh. And it's just, I forgot that you're from Pennsylvania and you grew up in it. You know, that catcher never recovered. Manny Sanguin, like, never recovered. Like, that was his fucking best friend.
Yeah.
They were both Puerto Ricans. He went down to the fucking Keys and sat on the beach waiting for Roberto to walk out of the water. That's how Manny was like. Roberto was such a badass. I had to fly down there just to see if he would walk out of the ocean. Like, that's how fucking. And then after he died.
No, the whole thing's an intense story. Now.
Intense.
It's like very, very.
You know, Jay Bish is a Pittsburgh guy. He sends me all my Pittsburgh stuff.
Oh, yeah?
The
send it to
Roethlisberger
me,
shirt.
too.
Yeah, I got 2 nice shirts that he sends me. He just gave me a poster from the Roberto Clemente Museum.
Nice.
When I go home in December, I'm going to give it to my brother to frame and bring it here. So after he dies, he's Puerto Rican. Freddie Prinze comes along. You know, and America was taking a fucking beating then. Then Freddie Prinze shoots himself, you know, which is like, you know, the hottest comedian in the fucking world.
Yeah, that was a weird
Shoots
one.
himself.
That was a weird
No
one. That came out
internet.
of nowhere.
Yeah, no internet.
I mean, for the rest of the world,
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere.
No internet. You're fucking walking home. I was walking home on a Friday night. I still remember being with my friends and somebody going, Freddie Prinze shot himself. And I'm like, I had to walk through a cemetery. I think that night, that was the night that I ate some girl's pussy. Fucking behind the grammar school. I still remember her name. I fucked her first, and I ate a pussy. And
no, you're supposed to do it the other way
I
around.
know, but it was freezing outside, right? It was freezing outside. She was a year older than me.
I hope the hell you pulled out. That's all.
Is this when you dug something in the snow?
No, that
is a
was
different girl?
that was Bigiani. This was a different girl. This is a German girl that her parents hated Spicks. They were Nazis, and they hated Spanish people.
Hey, well, listen, go back to Desi Arnaz. I mean, that had to, come on.
Well, Desi I loved and the whole thing, and I related to it. But once Freddie Prinze shot himself, that's it.
Well, that's more our era, too.
And then I'll tell you what destroyed me. The one that put the fucking straw in the camel's back was Bruce Lee. That was it.
Fuck yeah.
That fucked me up for 3 or 4 months. I went nuts for 3 or 4 months.
I just saw Danny Anisano.
Yeah, we saw him that day when we were down there.
Well, no, I just saw him.
Again,
Jude took a picture with him. My son was with me. It was, 2 weeks ago. And what's he, 80 something? I mean, and he trains every day. He is Yoda. He is the living Yoda of our generation. I mean, he's learned more martial arts. He's forgotten more martial arts than I'll ever learn. I mean, the guy's amazing. I took, one of the first things I wanted to learn was JKD because of Bruce Lee. And so when I had the money and the time, finally, I dedicated myself and I hired Cass Magda, who was Danny's protege for a long time, and Danny was Bruce's protege. So I'm like, well, shit, this makes me like third generation Bruce Lee, kind of. You know what I mean? And I worked with him for 5 years, and I learned JKD, and I learned Kali, the stick fighting and knife fighting, and Silat. And that's where the ground stuff started to come in, which connected me back in high school with the wrestling when I wrestled in school. And so when I met the Machado brothers, I was like, that's what really sunk into me. I realized that I'm a ground game guy.
What's Silat?
Well, there's a supposedly
Silat.
Yes.
Right.
Penjak Silat, which is, I've heard that there's like hundreds of styles because there's hundreds of villages. Okay. But the one of them was, in like Sumatra, that's so wet, so they just start in the ground because they're going to fall down. So they just start there. And that's one of the kinds. Some of it looks like bad Kung Fu. I mean, some of it's not good. And some of it's extremely effective stuff. You know what I mean? It's a loose grappling style. And there's strikes, but it's more, trips and get the guy on the ground. And sometimes there's weapons involved. It just depends on the style of Silat. There's just like 140 styles or some crazy fucking number. And some are more prominent than others. I remember meeting some people from Indonesia, and guy came into a jiu-jitsu school, and I'm like, did you ever study Silat? And he goes, no, there's Taekwondo schools on like every corner. I'm like, well, good thing I'm not going over there. I can learn more of it here. He goes, yeah, you probably could.
What's Jeet Kune Do like? Like,
I think it's very simple.
Me so much that I didn't even want to even fuck with it.
I got to tell you, it was when Bruce was, initially it came from Wing Chun, Kung Fu. And I think when he came over here, he realized that American Western boxing was such an alive art that, because it's when he said, like if you can, box for a year and wrestle for a year, you can probably beat every lifetime martial artist, because he realized how effective those things really truly were. So he started to combine the boxing and the Wing Chun Kung Fu together. And I think it just started, and he started to look at other martial arts and go, this is why this works and this is why it doesn't. And why are people practicing and learning techniques that don't work in real combat? What the hell are you doing this for? And he would verbalize this, and he would piss people off, man. He made a lot of fucking people mad. And he was just being truthful. He's just going, you have to listen to your instincts too. You can't just 100% take somebody else's word for it. Hey, if I hit this person in the solar plexus, it's going to crush this and they're going to fall down and they're going to die. Well, if that worked, it'd be happening in the UFC. You know what I mean? But so I think what he did was just put a lens on it. Cass told me, that, you can actually learn JKD in like 3 months. The principles, the punches, the strikes, the kicks, it's not complicated. It just takes a long time to get really good at it. It's just like Muay Thai. There's not a ton of punches and kicks. And like Bruce Lee said, when you first learn martial arts, a punch is a punch. And when you've gotten to black belt, a punch is still just a punch. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like, all this physics belongs to all of us. You know what I mean? None of us are born with 4 arms and, So it's not a complicated art. It's not at all. It's very simple. It just takes a long time, I think, to hone it to where you're really good at it. It's just like drums. I can hit a drum and make a noise. You can hit a drum and make a noise. But to make the noise cohesive into something that sounds like a piece of music, that takes a little time. And that's what JKD is. It's putting all those pieces together until
no forms, right? No forms.
No, there's no forms. So they used to, sometimes people teach with the wooden dummy. I know Danny did that. I've never studied under Danny, so I'm not sure, but from what I've heard. And but Cass didn't do the wooden dummy. He didn't teach with that.
The wooden dummy is the Wing Chun dummy with the 2 little arms. Stationary. Okay, and then you just keep making little blocks with your hands and using like kind of your elbows, maybe not.
It's a lot of trapping and stuff like that. But, I think that, look, if that trapping worked that well, I think boxers would use it. And I think boxers have their own little version of trapping. You know what I mean? But the way they trap in Wing Chun, I not that it can't be effective. Anything delivered at the right time can be effective. I remember in the UFC in the early days, everybody said, "You know what? Why even bother kicking? You do a high kick, you're gonna get knocked out. Somebody's gonna take you down, and that's the end of it. So just forget ever learning high kicks." Well, now you're looking at people using high kicks, and they're working because they know when to deliver it. You know what I mean? If somebody's trying takedowns for the first 2 rounds, they're going to start getting tired, and their takedowns aren't going to be effective. That's the time to use a high kick on a guy when he comes in for that takedown. We saw that play out many times in the UFC. I don't even remember what fight it was, but it's crazy how that shit works. If Bruce Lee was alive today, I think he'd be all over the UFC. I think he'd be a commentator. You know what I mean? It would be glorious. Can you imagine that?
I don't know. I don't know how it would feel. Because at first, I didn't like it. At first, the UFC, when I turned around and I saw 2 fat guys throwing punches, I was furious.
Really? What UFC was this?
Just when it first started.
One of the first ones?
Like, I was such a purist. Like, when I quit martial arts, I quit. And there was another thing. Like, it was like the first time I had to walk away from it. Not because I was lazy, I was scared, because I had to choose my lifestyle. Where I had to go train, at 15, it was 2 bus rides. And those kids didn't do what I like doing at that age. I wanted to go get pussy. They wanted to train on Saturdays, and Saturday nights stay in and watch fucking kung fu movies and practice the iron palm technique in their basements and shit. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get high and get my dick sucked. It's not like I was getting my dick sucked. It wasn't happening.
Right.
But that's the reason.
But you were trying. And they weren't getting an iron fist either. So
no, they were staying in. We were geeks. We'd go to karate from 9 in the morning to fucking 1. Then we'd go eat pizza in Union City, and then we'd walk down, it was like an all-day fucking affair.
Right.
Of geekiness. And then sometimes we got together at night. Our parents would drop us off, and we'd watch kung fu movies or something like that.
This is the thing. If you look at the movies that come out, and even like Jackie Chan, and I happen to love Jackie Chan, and I love kung fu movies and all that stuff. I think it's great. But at the end of the day, what is truth? What is the truth? And I think Bruce Lee was constantly searching for the truth. What really works? But at the same time, he was making movies that were far-fetched. You know what I mean? And he knew that. He was doing things in those movies that probably wouldn't work in real life. But he would talk about the truth. You know what I mean? So what he would preach and what he would put in a movie were two different things. You know what I mean? They were not the same guy. One guy was an actor and one guy was a serious martial artist. That serious martial artist is the guy that I really found the most intriguing. But, you know, what is the truth with, you know, anything can, you know, you heard the old saying, any horse can win on any day. I mean, you know, some pure karate guy, old school karate guy could walk into the UFC and win. You don't fucking know. Probably not. You know what I mean? I mean, the hybrid is almost, you almost have to have that hybrid thing today. That's what blows my mind about Damian Maia, though. And you know about Damian Maia. He's one of the few guys that, I mean, I don't know how much stand-up he trained or where he trained his stand-up. Not a ton of it, I don't think. He's one of these guys that, I mean, just, he's like a John Jock or any jiu-jitsu guy with almost pure jiu-jitsu has come in and ranked, what, up to 4 or 5 in the UFC. You know, he hasn't fought in a while.
He's getting older now. He's got a little older.
That's pretty amazing.
It's fought for the title.
I saw his hands get better and improve.
Right.
But they never really matched.
But it's one of the few martial arts that still holds up even today in that kind of an environment is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
No, it does.
Still holds up.
I am very impressed with it.
You still have to learn how to.
Very impressed.
And you know what? There was more ground and pound. I watched Fight Night last night. There was so much grappling and ground and pound. There for a while, I was seeing so much stand-up. Stand up. I'm like, damn, it looks like K1 kickboxing. This isn't as interesting to me. And then all of a sudden, little by little, you know, and I think Khabib ushered that in a little more, you know. I mean, the guy that has...
The next Lotto 649 jackpot is an estimated $7 million, plus the guaranteed $1 million prize.
Like one of the best records in UFC history was grounding and pounding. It's like, you know, he's got something right here, you know.
What do you think, or why do you think there aren't as many martial arts movies anymore? Like in the 80s or whatever, there was Jean-Claude Van Damme. There was, I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy who's kind of Russian, he goes to Russia. He still makes movies. They're not that great. Whatever it is.
Well, you're going to answer this. It's a UFC, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
You know?
there was still... I mean, there was action movies back in the 80s. There was Rambo and all that stuff, but there was still martial art movies.
The other night, Billy Jack was on.
Oh, I'm going to put this leg on
that side of your
head,
face.
and there ain't going to be a
fucking Lee.
you can do about it.
Lee, this is 1970. They took a deep fucking chance with Billy Jack, and they won.
Yeah.
They had him until they took him to trial. The trial of Billy Jack lost me.
Yeah.
But Billy...
And you know who did the soundtrack?
Who?
Coven. A band that had a 12-minute Black Sabbath, literally, on their record. It was on a record called Blood on the Snow. And the lead singer is a girl named Jinx. I don't ask me why I know this. My mind is a freaking junkyard.
I love it. I love it. Because a lot of people don't even know who Billy Jack was. I forgot it until...
And he was fighting for the Indians, man.
He was fighting for the Indians.
That's what that was about.
So it was like 1969. You know, Bruce Lee's already out. People already know about Bruce Lee. America said, we got to get a jump on this. We can't let this get out of control. We cannot let a little Asian man... So they trained this guy that was an ex-Marine, white dude, that he was a badass. You know, he didn't believe.
Was he Indian at all?
I
think he was supposed to be.
If he did 23andMe, he failed the test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he did 23andMe, I think he failed the test. I think I forgot. See what the guy's name was and what's the. If you don't mind, Lee, please, if they give you any background on the guy, he was just a white dude. And he fought for the Indians. And Lee, it fucking skyrocketed.
It did, but Born Losers, wasn't that the second one? Or was that a different thing?
I think it was Billy Jack, and then it ends with him going to jail.
Born Loser was the first one.
Born Loser was the first one.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm not totally clear.
Yeah. So what years was
I
that?
saw it at the drive-ins.
Yeah, I saw it at the drive-in too. On Clifton, New Jersey, off of Route 3.
saw it, it'd be like Carlisle, PA or something.
What's the score of the Pittsburgh game? Hit me.
I'm gonna find out.
Hit me, baby.
Well, Billy Jack was in 71.
Right. That's 2 years before Enter the Dragon. Right around Chinese Connection type. So it was ballsy to release.
Ooh, 7. 23-7 Steelers. I love it. It's at the half though. There's still some football to be played.
And the guy who played Billy Jack wrote it and directed it.
What was his name?
Tom Laughlin.
Tom Laughlin.
Yeah, and I got a friend named Tom Laughlin.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Let me find out if he was really Native American.
Yeah, that guy was the shit, wasn't he?
I watched that movie the other night, and I like it put a big smile.
Now,
on
hey, did you like biker movies? Because I loved biker movies when I was growing up.
Give me an example. I don't
Well,
know.
Hell's Angels 69, all that stuff. But then Joe Namath was in CC Rider, and William Smith was always in all those movies. Always a tough guy, and it was also in Every Which Way But Loose and all that.
CC.
That's it right there.
I said C. Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
But what's up with Joe Namath doing these commercials where he sounds like he's from New Orleans? Where's he from? I thought he was a New York guy, right?
Joe Namath has gone through a lot of changes. Leave Joe Namath alone. That's a lot of content.
Yeah, but his
That's
accent.
a lot. Remember at the end? Did you see at the end before he died? That poor bastard from American
Wait, he died?
Bandstand? No.
Oh.
Remember that poor bastard from American Bandstand? What was his name? Dick.
Oh, yeah.
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark, yeah.
Like the last movie they had him on, I couldn't even believe they put him on.
Well, he had a stroke, didn't he?
His head was all fucked up and shit like this. So, Joe
And you know what? I do want to do a quick little shout out to Kenny Bond, by the way. I'm sure you heard about that.
No.
One of our jiu-jitsu guys battled brain cancer for couple years.
Oh, yeah, somebody was
finally passed away a couple days ago. And just, every street sports school were just all in mourning about it. He was such an awesome dude. And so I know Nadine, his wife, and he's got the kids and stuff like that, and they do, I think I put up on my Facebook page a link to the for a support page there. What do you call it? A GoFundMe.
Okay.
So I hope people will definitely contribute because I was really devistated about that.
He wasn't Native American.
Told you.
He wasn't?
No.
Okay.
No. He just sold it. He said he wore the hat. He put the hat on, and he just spoke this. It was what a weird time in America. I was a kid, and I remember how, that was it. America was back on Trump. He was like Trump in 1970. America was back. He was ready to go. They had taken it back. We were coming back from Vietnam, and we got Billy Jack now.
Yeah. Billy Jack was, that was a badass movie. There were so many cool movies back then, I think. Maybe it was just because I was so young. It's just everything was amazing to me,
I still remember the commercial for the French Connection.
Yes. Fuck yeah, my dad took me to see it. My mom said, no, you're not going to see it. My dad took me anyway.
That changes my thinking.
I remember going to see that in the movie theater. But the commercial said, filmed in New York, where it happened. When he's running up the stairs and
wasn't that the first high-speed auto chase ever? Something like that.
Pretty famous for editing. It's the first. That's the first ever. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw that at MoMA in New York.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they were screening it. It was fun. It was great.
So wait a second. That's the first time.
That how he chased him underneath the subway.
Yeah.
That was the first time they ever shot a scene like that.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah, and of course Steve McQueen did stuff later, and Steve McQueen took it up a notch.
So did fucking Burt Reynolds in The Longest Yard.
Hell yeah, he did.
With Avant, whatever the fucking car he was.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really in shock that was the first big car scene. That's crazy.
French Connection was what year, though? That was like 68 or something.
69.
Something like that. Maybe we should play Trivial
71, yeah.
71, okay.
If I tell you the reason I went to see that movie, you're not going to believe. I'm going to tell people at home anyway.
Okay.
There's a writer called T.J. What was his name? That we brought him on.
English.
T.J. English is a writer out of New York, and he's Irish guy, and he wrote a book about the Westies, and then he wrote 2 books about Cuban culture, and they both
Westies were badass motherfuckers.
they're badass
I know about
motherfuckers.
it.
Then he wrote 2 books that one's getting done as a TV 10-part miniseries on HBO. It was that good. And the other one is called whatever the fuck, the one that we had him on here for. But in that book, he had a bunch of names of people that I grew up around, you know. And when he was writing the book, I contacted him, and he interviewed me on a lot of the people. A couple of weeks ago, I was thinking about the French Connection, and I called him up, and I go, "Can I ask you a question? In any of your files, did you read the name of a guy named Louis Bao? In Cuban, that means Louis the Turkey. That was his name, Louis Bao. So when I was a kid, the reason why I went to see the French Connection is because my mother pulled me aside and she goes, "Come here, go watch the French Connection and see if they mention Louis the Pavo. If they don't mention him, the movie's a fake."
Did they mention?
No. But when I talked to TJ, when I talked to TJ English that time, the first time he said no, but let me look through my stuff. And about 6 weeks later, he called back and he goes, "This guy, this Louis the Pavo, was never really mentioned, but he was one of the original guys that was putting the coke on the cars and the heroin, and how they were weighing it. That's how they would put it in the car and ship it from France to the United States. And they would weigh the car, so you would have to take something out of the car because they knew the weights of the car.
Yeah.
They knew the weights of the car up to the thing. Like, you know, it's weird. What movie were we watching? Oh, the one with Marky Wahlberg when they were chasing the diamonds, the gold around town.
Italian Joe?
And they could tell by the measurement on the tires if the weight on the...
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. So they'll cut the tire right open and fucking, because that's, you know, coming across the border. I'm going to use the restroom.
Go ahead.
Just a quick potty break. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. We're going to read a fucking ad real quick. While I have you here, while Mr. Ricky Rocker is taking a little breather, I'd like to talk to you people about a little something. On it is always there for you. They're there with supplements. They're there with kettlebells. They're there with whatever you need them. They got it. This morning before I got on the plane, what do you think I did? You think I I smoked a joint. But I also took 2 Shroom Tech Immunes. Because I don't know who's sitting next to me. I don't know if Ali Baba's sitting next to me or John fucking Smith. And I don't want to take a chance because God knows what the fuck they're breathing.
You don't trust either of them.
I don't trust nobody. So when you're flying, always remember to go with Shroom Tech. Why do you ask? Because... Oh, and I know
I got one for you now.
And,
finally.
But it ain't going to be that one. It ain't going to be this.
You don't have that.
No, wait till you take a whiff of it.
Oh, God, stop waving it at me. That's the worst part. God damn it.
I got one of these before.
Go away.
And I could not believe it was so fucking bad. Yeah, I was hoping that Ricky Rocket didn't sniff it. Because there'll never be a guest on this show again if he caught a whiff of this. Wait.
Thank you for sharing it with me. You fucking airplane farts. Why are you standing up now? Oh, he's airing it out. This is the same person who farted so badly you have to take a shower after your last one. Stop waving it at him. Like, God damn it. See, you can never leave again, right? You're farting the entire time. Oh, God, I can't even breathe now.
Sorry.
Go to honor.com and press charge.
And get 10% off your order, all right? Shroom Tech Sport, Shroom Tech Immune. So talk to me. What possessed you? What possesses a man to wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've sold millions of fucking records with a band, you know, millions worldwide. I'm going to wake up and open up a coffee company. Talk to me.
You know what? We were talking about this earlier. My buddy Garrison, the head of A&R for Drum Workshop, we started we're such coffee fanatics that we bought a little roaster. We're like, let's buy some beans and let's just fucking roast, you know? So we were doing it in the garage on Sunday afternoons, right? watching TV, and then we go, we ought to do a podcast and have drummers on the show, since you work for Drum Workshop and I'm a drummer. But the rule is that we can't talk about drums. We just talk about everything else. So we thought it was a great fucking idea. And then he moved, unfortunately. So a couple years later, when I met my girl, we talked about coffee. She was a big coffee connoisseur. We just decided to do it. When she was modeling, she went by TCTNT, Bombs, and I'm Rockets, so that's why it's Bombs and Rockets.
Now, when you talk about a big connoisseur of coffee, when she talks to you about a rock macaque, beans and shit like that.
She talks fucking beans to me, bro. Let me tell you something. It's odd.
But like, there's people I've had discussions with people that know shit about coffee that has blown me the fuck away.
You know what? It's just about taste for me, literally. You know what I mean? I mean, if it tastes good, it's good. You know? I mean,
have you tried the really expensive one where like an animal eats the bean and poops it out? I just saw a video about it. It's crazy. It's like $100. It's like really expensive coffee per cup. I'm gonna have to look it up.
We have top models eating ours and pooping it out, and then we make it into that.
That's the way to do it.
Just telling you, you might want to try it.
I just.
I heard about a beer. Somebody doing that with vaginal juices and making it into beer in Europe or something like that. I don't know.
I'll drink that shit all day long. I'll pour it all over my face.
Yeah, it's Kopi Luwak. It's the world's most expensive coffee. Let me just see how much it costs.
But what's the why?
What's the catch?
It's like a cat-like animal, and from what I read or what I saw in the thing, it said they think that the animal chooses like the best beans, and if there's some sort of like
what animal?
It's called a Kopi Luwak. It's kind of like a cat. That's what they said.
Oh, what?
People. Listen, the Colombians been drinking coffee and making you jumping up and down for 2,000 years. Now they want to show up with a cat that eats a bean.
So it costs $35 to $100 per cup.
Well, listen, we just wanted to make a really good cup of coffee, not reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
But, you know.
$35 because a fucking cat eats the bean and shits it out, and I'm going to fucking cook it up at the house. You might as well smell my farts for free. They give you the same fucking effect. I hate.
And how much would you charge for that?
$2. I hate when people fucking $2 for sniff. I hate when people really do try and reinvent the wheel, especially to a guy like me. Like, I'm Cuban. I love coffee. The only reason why I don't have diabetes is because I avoid the Cuban style coffee.
Why? What's different? Is it sugar in it?
It's have some coffee with your sugar.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, have some. You know, I love going.
Because I know how the Turks do it.
Right,
you know,
Turks,
stuff
the
like
Greeks.
that.
I love going to Miami International Airport once every 2 years and looking at Starbucks. It's a fucking ghost town. You'd have to be an idiot to go into Starbucks in Miami.
No, yeah. No,
like if you go into a Starbucks in Miami, walk out and shoot yourself, because that's the best thing you could do for your life.
Hey man, you know what? Any city I go into, that's one of the things.
And I love Starbucks. No.
I like Starbucks.
You're not getting me wrong. I love Starbucks. I love Peeps, whatever that is. Peeps. I love them all. What I'm trying to say to you is, in Miami, for $1.50, they give you a white cup that has 6 shots of espresso, Cuban style, that your dick gets hard. The hairs where you're bald over here, you can feel them navigating. It's like you snorted a Black Beauty in the 70s. You can feel your hair moving, your scalp. I swear to God.
Give me some of that shit and I'll run home?
Yeah, no. So a lot of people, that's why I'm saying when you go to Miami International Airport, you look at like the Cuban restaurant there, there's a line for coffee. You look at the Starbucks, it's a one-person operation. I swear to God.
Is your wife Cuban?
No, my wife is from Tennessee. But we learned how to make Cuban coffee.
They don't have Cubans in Tennessee?
Yeah, they got Cubans in Tennessee. They got Cuban food in Tennessee. The problem is how good is that?
It's sticking around. That's the way most farts dissipate. This is just hanging in the air.
This is just for
like it's
you,
like
baby.
Agent Orange or something. This is the worst thing that's ever happened.
And it just got you in the corner. Like Muhammad Ali had Joe Frazier in 71 in the corner. He just got you over there. He's rope and doping. I told you. You're done. You're done. That's direct from fucking
Miami.
Portland.
Portland, yeah. When did you get back? Last night?
This morning.
Oh, this morning.
I had 2 shows last night.
He came here just for. He came here just for me.
2 shows Friday, 1 Thursday. You know, it's so funny. When you were 20, how old were you when you started Poison? When you got involved with Poison, started Poison,
like 19.
Did you think that at 55 you were still going to be in demand to go on the road?
No.
No.
Fuck no.
No. So, you know, I mean, look at these.
Yeah, hit that compressor.
Look at these bands that are going on the road now. These ages. If the Stones go on the road, what's the average age of the Stones?
70.
Who's going out anyway? It's Keith, the drummer.
Keith? Yeah, Keith, Mick.
That's it. And Mick.
Charlie Watts and
no, Wyman
and Ron Wood.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they got Ronnie from the Faces. Well, he's been with them for what, 20-some years
40,
now?
30 years, yeah.
So,
and they're all in their 70s.
And Mick was amazing with Jim. So. Yeah, I mean, fuck. I mean, they're the Stones. I mean,
they're all in their 70s. That's what you're trying to tell
I think so.
And they're going to go on the road and fucking perform every other night.
And Mick Jagger's going to tear that shit up. He's going to fucking inspire another, decade of young rockers like he always has, And Tina Turner inspired him. So,
so what are you going to do? You're going to go? You're going to pay the $800? You got no choice. We got no choice.
I got to go. I'm going to just go by myself, though, because I don't want to pay for anybody else.
You're not going to take Renata?
Yeah. No, I'm nobody. Fuck everybody. No, no, my girl and I will go. Hanat wants to go. He wants to take his wife. Hopefully it'll work out. I already have a call into management. Nobody's calling me back. You know why? Because Poison ain't on the road right now. So I can't barter shit right now. It's so weird. It's like, I was talking about this the other day. One platform to another doesn't equate. Okay. We're so lucky, our band. Okay. I feel so privileged to be able to be in this band and go out on the road and play for 10, 12, 14, 15,000 people a night. I mean, we're very lucky to be able to do that at this point in our lives.
You're still doing 12 to 15?
We're still doing that kind of business.
Wow.
Some nights there'll be an 8,000 seater, some nights there'll be a 15, but on average it's 10 in there. Okay. That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. And that's a headlining thing because we headlined this last time. But I have a YouTube channel, and it's really hard to grow that channel. Very, very hard. Hard as fuck. I didn't realize how hard that would be.
What's on your YouTube channel?
I do mainly vlogs that have to do with motorcycle stuff. Or at least motorcycles are always the backdrop. Even if I did one day, I didn't even mean to do it. I got a barbecue grill and the thing was totally fucked up when I got it. So I did a vlog about taking it back and assembling a barbecue grill. But in the middle of it, I get frustrated and take a ride in the motorcycle, and I do this whole thing where I have like GoPro cameras and all this stuff. I always wind up doing something with a motorcycle almost 9 times out of 10. However, I just did this one little mystery thing that I did for Halloween. And an old friend of mine that did all the documentaries for Amityville called me up and he said, "Hey man, we got to do something together. Do you have any other stuff?" And I said, "Yes, I do. I'm sitting on a really, really good mystery right now that is absolutely one of the most, and I'm not going to tell anybody right now because if I do, somebody will steal the fucking idea. But it's something that happened in another state 40 years ago. And him and I are going to do something on it, and hopefully it'll wind up on a TV show. That would be pretty cool, but I want to ride my motorcycle to it. I don't want to just show up. I'm here.
I didn't know you were a big biker guy.
Oh, I have 8 motorcycles. I have 8 motorcycles and about a dozen mini bikes. I'm out of my mind. I've had 15 motorcycles at one time.
I love mini bikes, but my mini bike days are over.
I call myself the motorcycle evangelist.
I would love to go dirt riding again.
I just did it this weekend. I took the kids.
I would love
that. And the last weekend we went out to the desert Lucy, my 5-year-old's riding Jude's quad, and Jude has a 110 Kawasaki. He's riding a dirt bike now. I have a 250, and we just all ride together. We go slow, you know, they're kids. And but to him, he's hauling ass. I mean, he's doing good. She's doing good. It's so much fun. They get dirty and filthy, and you know, I mean, it's just it's
really
awesome.
fell in love with it.
Do you ride? Do you ride motorcycles on the street too?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
That's where it ended for me.
I did a vlog. Okay, this is one thing I did over the summer. TC, my girlfriend, her colon's got to come out later this year, or early next year, rather.
I'm man enough.
She's got a very rare condition that she just has to have it removed or she'll get cancer. I beat cancer, at least so far. I think I'm good. So, yeah, exactly. So we said we want to do Sturgis. We want to go to Sturgis. So I went to we flew into Sturgis, bought an Indian Roadmaster, and rode it back to LA, and hit like 9 national parks. We took like 2 weeks to go and hang out, ride around, and just have a good time. And I did a vlog series about it. I think I did like 6 or 7 and 8 installments is what it was. Awesome. And I was just watching it like yesterday. I was reliving it all over again. It was so awesome. I had my girl on the back of the motorcycle, and we just fucking I think we wound up doing like 2,800 miles, almost 3,000 miles on the bike over a period of 2 weeks. I mean, we just fucking rode and rode and rode. It was awesome. Got to do it, man. I want to do it again, but I don't think she's going to be able to do it. You know,
You're
for a
fucking
while.
savage, brother. You really are. It doesn't end. It doesn't end with you.
And it got hot. Holy fuck! It was 114 degrees going through Nevada.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. That's a fucking nightmare. Bugs hitting you.
We had these shirts on that we'd get wet, put them on.
Take some armor. Nerf this. They're on me. My barrier can't take much more.
Turret deployed.
Enemies over there. Taking heavy fire.
You hear that?
Rally to me.
Turret's being destroyed. Power overwhelming.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
I'm under attack.
This hand here?
I have big plans for you. Yes. Turret's under fire.
Armoring you up.
Let's get started.
Best round 1.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy, you know what I'm saying? I'm the best at video games.
Score 1.
Nobody's better than me at video games.
Yeah, we're all talking the same Matrix, dude.
It's hard to just sit around knowing there's someone out there that needs to be blown
Your mom's having connection problems.
Hey.
Got 'em.
Make sure you're ready.
Obliterated, you know?
Man, hold your mouth
This is
now.
a
She
joke.
get it.
1.
Don't do it.
Capture.
Time to let off some steam.
Holy fuck. I'm gonna spook them.
I foresee great things for you. Being destroyed. Hurting the bellow.
Anyone else want some?
Just look at you.
There they are. Ice wall coming up.
Get into position.
Behind you.
I'm overloading.
You've been practicing.
Shiver me timber. I feel great.
Enemies coming on board.
I feel great. Time to let off some steam.
Minefield deployed.
Turret deployed.
I could use some help. See?
Oh,
let's break it. Damn!
Gale the Mahol.
Enemies are
Vamos esculachar!
Much better. My baby.
My will made real.
Let's get this done.
Come to me. Minefield charging.
I'm under attack.
Should have had V8. Bears up top.
Show them what you can do.
I sighted the enemy.
Protect my turret.
I require assistance.
I have molten core.
Огонь по готовности.
Turning up the heat. If you can't stand the heat,
Fire in the house!
stay out of my way.
Minefield deployed.
Vamos esculachar!
behind you.
It's under fire.
I'm planning my climb on the point.
Time to let off some steam.
Gale the Mahol.
Such potential.
My barrier's down.
I'm under attack. Your favor hold. Get into position.
Turning up the heat.
Justice reigns from above. Surrender to my will.
Destroyed.
Hold up now.
You walked right into that one.
Hold it to creep.
Good game. Hey, mama, be over later.
Man, I sure am good at video games.
Triggered.
Play of the game.
Yes.
You might want to keep your distance.